And welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. And party, what is going on here? Party, we will. Party, we will. I just actually got done watching the new documentary about Charlie Sheen, and he is winning again, baby. He is winning again. I definitely suggest that you guys go watch that. It's super interesting. I mean, it's Charlie Sheen. How could it not be? But it is, it could have been something really dark, and it's out there, but it is hopeful. And so he was recently on JRE. So let's check that out. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Yeah.
Oh, Kennedy was trying to be a real president, and they were like, oh, none of that.
Yeah, it was the Federal Reserve. It was Vietnam. It was like all these big, like really important
big things. He wanted to get us out of he wanted to kill the CIA. He wanted to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And they were like, not today, sir. And then that's the real argument is like we haven't really had a president since Kennedy. Everything after that has been the president's been more of a speaker.
Interesting.
And the giant machine behind it continues.
I mean, I would argue that things changed with Trump, but then things changed again under Trump, and he became just another politician. So, I mean, I think he was a real president for a while, and now he's just another figurehead.
To run exactly as it always has.
Yeah, I mean, and just from where I sit, there's not a lot you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. You can talk, but look, if they haven't done anything about the Kennedy assassination, you can't do shit.
No.
You could put pressure on people, and you definitely can hurt their chances of getting reelected if people find out that they're very disappointed in you for not supporting this or not telling us about that or lying about this or you were involved in that. Yeah, but other than that, like there's not much you can do.
Yeah, that's why I don't really weigh in anymore.
Good. It's probably smart.
Smart.
So, it feels like I don't know, it's wasted energy.
It definitely is a lot of that.
Shout out to Josie. Welcome to the party. Said Andrew Tate returns to Piers Morgan and completely destroys him at his own show. Interesting. We may check that out. Welcome. Very good to see ya. We are here winning with Charlie Sheen.
It feels like I don't know, it's wasted energy.
It definitely is a lot of that, but it's also like a show. You know, you could watch the show. Hey, have you watched the latest episode of the Epstein Files? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
you know,
it turns into
kind of like a show.
It turns into a parlor game, also. You know, right? That's how my dad described the OJ case. He said, "This is like the greatest parlor game ever."
Right.
You know,
boy, I remember watching that verdict on TV live in my apartment with this girl I was dating. She was a really sweet girl, and she couldn't believe that he was innocent.
Yeah,
and she didn't understand it. She was
that's because he wasn't innocent.
Confused.
Yeah, it didn't line up, did it?
She was like, no, how? Yeah. She kept like putting her hands over her face. No.
We know it was payback for Rodney King. We all know that.
It completely torqued her whole reality.
Yeah.
I was on a mountaintop in Mexico doing a kind of a low rent sci-fi film called The Arrival.
I love that movie.
Oh, okay.
Don't say that was a low rent movie. I love that movie.
Thank you.
Who turned me on to that movie? Dave Foley. Dave Foley, who's a good friend of mine from News Radio.
Okay.
When we were on News Radio together, he fucking loved that movie because this is a so underrated sci-fi movie. I'm like, okay, cool.
Wow.
And I checked it out. It was great. I loved it.
Thank you. It was the first film that actually incorporated a mashup of puppets and CGI at the same time, because at that point it was either one or the other, and the other hadn't fully really arrived yet.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. But no, we were. I was so hoping for the day off to be back at the hotel because everybody knew the night before that the verdict was coming. Right. So we had to shoot this scene, and there was a prop man. And he had the only. This is 95, right? He had the only cell phone, and it had like half a bar. And it's starting to rain, and he's got his ear, and his buddy's got his phone in LA up to the TV when they're about to read the verdict.
Wow.
So we all gathered.
Technology, eh? Shout out to Nick Lou Kitty in the building. Welcome. Very good to see you. And of course, if you could hit that like button, I would very, very much appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. One like equals one winning.
In LA up to the TV when they're about to read the verdict.
Wow.
So we all gather around the prop man and we're watching him, and he's kind of leaning to keep the signal, to keep it, to kind of keep, connected. And then we can see when he hears it, he slumps a little bit, right? Takes the phone from his ear and slams it into the mud and screams, "That motherfucker got away with murder."
Wow.
His voice like echoed through the mist. It was gnarly.
That's a wild scene.
That's how I learned about the OJ verdict. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dave Anderson was there with me. He's a buddy I grew up with. He's in the book. He's a two-time Oscar-winning FX makeup artist, And so, if you ever run across Dave the Rave Anderson,
Dave the Rave Anderson. Shout out to Dave the Rave, and shout out to Guamtech. Welcome to the party. Said like and shared. Oh, thank you both. Free and easy. It helps out the channel so much. It does not even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link. Just by you telling YouTube X or Rumble that you want more people to see this, they will show it to more people. Thank you so very, very much, sir. We are hanging out with Charlie Sheen. Welcome.
Great, just a crazy scene. Imagine a guy reacting like that.
He was our only connection to it,
Yeah.
and everybody was so invested in this thing. And it was really hard to go. And that was like, do you remember time of day that might have happened? Kind of late morning, sort of, or was it in the...
Were you guys old enough to be aware of what was going on with the OJ trial? I mean, I knew that there was a thing that was the OJ trial, but I wasn't old enough to really grasp it, or maybe I just was sheltered from my parents. I don't know, but that was something that just didn't register when I was a kid.
Time of day that might have happened? Kind of late morning, sort of, or was it in the afternoon?
I don't remember at all.
We still had a pretty sizable day to shoot, and it was really hard to regain focus.
Yeah,
and feel like what we were doing still mattered.
Yeah,
because there was a giant, there was like a murmur in the universe at that point.
It's a very similar thing for those of us who had to stream the day of the other Charlie. There's part of you that's like, okay, well, I still need to do this, but also it's like I've just gone through the same thing everybody else has, and shout out to you guys for being here. And I don't know if I could have done it without you.
Yeah,
it felt like something had been taken from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, civility.
Did you see the last or the most recent OJ documentary?
No.
It's Murder, Mayhem, and Blood. I think it's got 3.
I have not
Murder, Mayhem, and Blood.
Murder, Mayhem, and Lies.
Pull that up, Jamie.
Something. I'm probably way off with that title. American Manhunt? No.
Just talk.
No, it's actually.
But it's the latest OJ documentary.
Well, I guess Manhunt will be the latest. This is the one that was before that, and it's broken down at the crime scene by 2 like expert veteran recreationists. Yeah, it's a trip. Do you watch any OJ stuff that comes out? No,
I try not to.
Yeah, because
I do.
It's just weird.
Have you guys seen the FX thing with Cuba Gooding Jr.? That was amazing. So good. Hey, shout out to Guamtech. Gets his purple pill. Jesus Christ. I would not want to get into a scuffle with this man. Shout out to you, man. Congratulations. There we go. Let's get the air horn as well. There you go. Big shit, man. Big shit. Good for you.
Comes out now?
No, I try not to. Yeah,
because
it's just too weird.
Okay. Do you think there was something else there? Or
no, I think he killed his wife.
Yeah.
And he killed Ron Goldman. And he got away with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just nuts. It's just, it's weird. You watch him on like Naked Gun and you're like, that guy?
Yeah.
That guy murdered his wife with a knife? Like what?
Yeah.
And he got away with it and he's just golfing.
Yeah, it was a follow-up part.
Yeah, Nick says, I definitely remember it. I was on my way to take my driver's license test when they told the verdict on the radio. Mom and I were listening to the whole drive into the DMV. I'm trying to think. I would imagine that like 9/11 was the first big national thing like that I was a part of. Because what year was this? This was what, 93? Something like that? Or a little bit later, 95. Because 92 was Rodney King, right? I don't know. One of you guys will remember.
Like what?
Yeah.
And then he got away with it and he's just golfing.
Yeah, it was the
Very
follow-up
strange.
part that didn't really
Yeah.
support anything about what he had claimed.
You remember when he was
You
a
know?
rapper?
You
You remember the
OJ?
Juice is Loose? You remember that?
Oh gosh, I think I just
Yeah.
willed that one out of my.
He had
mind.
like a king's robe on, and like there's a bunch of hot ladies around him.
Okay, it's coming back to me. Yeah,
he made a rap
yeah.
song.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like embracing the heel role at one point in time after the guilty verdict or the not guilty verdict.
Right. Yeah.
And so he got into like rap.
Juice is
I mean,
loose.
probably just for a monetary grab.
I would
right?
imagine.
Yeah.
Let me watch you play it. Play the Juice is Loose. It's so bad.
Oh my God.
It's
Oh, no,
is it
music.
off of YouTube? That would be hilarious.
It was part of a TV show. I saw another clip.
Oh, that's right.
95. Okay. Yeah. So I was, I would have been kindergarten, first grade at that time. So that makes sense. Where again, because of the fact that it was so big, and because of the fact that it was really the first big thing like that. Because of court TV, 24-hour news cycle, all that stuff. Like even the Rodney King thing itself wasn't something that people were constantly following as closely. But yeah, am I wrong? Was the OJ trial not like the first big national thing that everybody watched on TV like that? I think so, right?
People, it's like probably pre.
Jackass.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of the thing they had on MTV.
You will miss
I think it
this
was all
shot,
celebrities.
you
Couldn't think.
jackass.
Oh, Punk.
Yeah.
Got it.
OJ was doing that?
No, but
Everybody
was,
would just
he
run
was
away
pranking
screaming.
people.
He's
Yeah,
the
he did it
murderer.
to a lady. Like walked up to her hotel room with a knife.
Oh my God. That was one of his scenes? Jesus Christ.
Shout out to Waco Mine. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. They Netflix also does have a more recent docuseries, like a dramatized series on the Menendez brothers, and that was very interesting. But again, that was around the same time. This is not going to stay like this. That was around the same time. Again, just either too young or too sheltered from the real world. Like I said, it's certainly the first thing of that nature that I remember. Yeah, I don't think there was, because obviously stuff had happened. Even as we're talking about Rodney King, like that was nationwide. Stories are nothing new, but a sustained thing where everybody's paying attention and you go and talk about it at the water cooler or whatever. Like I said, I remember people caring a lot about the OJ case, but I wasn't told enough to really understand what was going on. I always get my memories mixed up of the Cable Guy because they parodied it. Fair enough. But yeah, I think we were right at that age group where like we knew something was going on, but not really appropriate for the children's.
Oh my God. That was one of his scenes?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You got juice is what it was called.
You got juice.
You got damn.
Also, the music video had a bunch of that was
Naked ladies?
Yeah, it was aired on like pay-per-view.
Oh.
The Spice Channel.
Oh,
Remember the Spice
The
Channel?
Spice Channel.
Yeah.
If you do not know what the Spice Channel is, you are too young for this stream.
But that whole thing, going from that verdict to going back to work.
This picture. It's not the video.
Oh, my.
Picture.
Yeah.
at
Juiced,
that.
the musical.
Look at that.
I remember one time we were filming News Radio. It was in the middle of that North Hollywood shootout. Do you remember that?
I do.
And
Yeah.
we were watching it live on TV.
Yeah.
While trying to.
Just in case you are wondering, I did skip over a little bit in the beginning. They talked a lot about conspiracy. We came in, they were talking about Kennedy. They're talking a lot about that kind of stuff, and it's the same exact conversation that Rogan has in every single episode. So I wanted to get more into the Charlie Sheen stuff.
To do a sitcom, and we were like, we probably should take some time off here. There's a fucking war going on in the middle of North
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Wow. Yeah, that
I
was
think that involved a lot of cocaine and steroids too.
from the brothers.
From the guys.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
they were definitely on steroids.
Yeah.
But I think there was probably
Or meth.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Something
I think
like
meth
that.
would
Sort
have
of
kept
upper.
them there
Yeah.
for a lot
Something
longer.
spicy.
For people who
Yeah.
don't know the story, these guys, did they rob a bank? Is that what they did?
Yeah, but waited.
Yeah.
Like could have driven away. Could have left with all the dough.
And they decided to get in a shootout with the cops.
Yeah.
And killed cops. Right?
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, and they got killed. A bunch of cops got hit. And the cops were like horribly outgunned.
Oh yeah.
Because the cops had their 9mm pistols, and
And-
these guys have fucking machine guns and
Yeah.
bulletproof vests. And,
Yeah. Kevlar helmets and they had face masks.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you support that when the dude finally kills himself, that it was a simultaneous sniper shot at the same time?
I never even looked into that. Is that one of the
That's
conspiracies?
well, that's one thing that they claim.
That
I'm not really
he
familiar
got
with the
shot
story at all.
and shot himself at the exact same
At the
time?
exact same time.
It's possible.
But why would they? Like, what does that serve? Like, what does that?
Maybe they were already going to shoot him, and he shot himself, and they didn't think he was going to shoot himself, and they pulled the trigger right when he did.
Got it.
That's what I would guess, if that's the case.
But it's not like they have to be let off the hook, because at that point, that dude has to be put down.
Yeah. I mean, one of the guys had already been.
Wait, who are they talking about? I missed that, and like I missed exactly who they were talking about, and now I'm so lost. I'm not. None of these details seem to trigger my my memory. Gontek said, was OJ first, or was JonBenet Ramsey? Good question. Good thing that we have a chat GPT. Gotta log in. Hold on. So OJ was June 94, and JonBenet Ramsey was found dead December 26th, 1996. So a couple years after that. But yeah, again, even 96, I'm at 6-7 years old. I'm not paying attention to stuff like that. I ain't paying attention to stuff like that. We got the old heads. Y'all know what's good. Y'all know what's good. We go to the guys in the North Hollywood shootout were heavily armed and armored. Okay, that's what they're talking. I missed exactly what thing they were talking about. Thank you. All right, I've been back in.
Have to be let off the hook, because at that point, that dude has to be put down.
Yeah. I mean, one of the guys had already been shot, and he was shot in the leg, and they didn't get him any medical help. They knew he was going to bleed out. You know, I think that was the case. I think he got shot in his femoral artery.
Yeah, the first guy, it says he died by, this is from Wikipedia, he died by suicide via gunshot to the head from his handgun, simultaneously being hit by rifle fire from LAPD officers with one round striking and severing his spine.
Whoa.
Sounds like
the other guy got
bullshit.
shot over 29 times and died from blood loss.
Wow. I mean, what are the odds that
crazy
that the thing with the
it's
kind of
like, it sounds like there were a lot of bullets were flying in his direction.
Over 2,000 rounds were found.
Jesus, 2,000.
Like, what is? Right, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, because again, same kind of conspiracy stuff. I'm interested. They do have an interesting conversation about Charlie and his life and all that stuff. So we'll skip ahead a little bit. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's coming up soon.
But I think that's right.
Biggest bore.
I mean, how long?
Wounded people.
Kind of harm the credibility of them.
But everything's a conspiracy.
Yeah. But then when they do that, they kind of they harm the credibility of the ones that can really be, considered for how we know them to be.
No doubt.
After all the extensive research.
No doubt. Yeah, there's real ones, but I think that's also part of the reason why some really silly conspiracy theories get pushed. I think they get pushed by bots, and I think they get pushed by paid accounts
to water down the real ones. Yeah.
To make
shout out to Superman. Well, okay, I won't spoil anything, but definitely calling out the bots.
Look stupid, and they'll like attach a really stupid conspiracy to one that's legitimate,
right?
And then it discredits the legitimate one.
Yeah, it's almost like not to introduce this, but just from afar, it's almost like a lot of the QAnon stuff kind of had that effect. Just I didn't dig.
I don't know anybody personally who got into QAnon, but from what I understand, there was a lot of exactly what they're talking about, with bits of truth that then get spun into this crazy thing about Trump's got a plan to do this and that and that and that and that and that. But do you guys know anybody who actually really bought into the QAnon stuff? That seems more like a boomer thing. I don't know.
Deep into that and don't and only know just the basic talking points about it. But one thing I did see that felt like a constant was that there was always anytime they'd mention something that was just completely screwy, it was followed up with the ones that we believe to be real.
Right.
They're just kind of this big, kind of just put them all in the same.
Yeah. A stew of good stuff and bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah. And just stirred that cauldron,
Yeah.
Then who the hell who is QAnon? Who are those people? It sounds like it's like 6 weirdos on Facebook, and then it got blown up into this this huge thing that was connected to every Trump supporter. Weird.
That's a very convenient way to bury truth. The QAnon documentary on HBO was great. Into the Fire, that was called.
I did not know there was a QAnon documentary. I absolutely have to watch that immediately.
Into something.
I didn't see it.
Into the Storm.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Is it? Yeah.
It's a multi-part thing on all the people that were involved in 4chan and the creation of QAnon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one. I've never visited 4chan. I don't know anybody. Nobody's ever been like, I saw this on 4chan. Like, who are these people?
I think the original guy was, and they think another guy took it over after a while and took over the account.
Got it.
And it seems like they were just kind of fucking around at first, but it's not definitive. Like, he's got some really good evidence that points in that direction, but it's just hard to know. And, you know, everyone always thought that it was someone inside the White House. There was some like secret person inside the White House. It doesn't seem like this documentary believes that. The guy who made this documentary, he pins it on one guy in particular. That's a tech nerd that seems to have all of the attributes of someone who could pull off a QAnon type deal.
Checks every box.
Yeah, checks everybody.
Really? Joseph saying Q was huge in my town. So, yeah, talk to me about it. What exactly was the idea? What is the thing that if you believe this or you do this or you think that, what is the threshold of, oh, that's Q, you're in QAnon because you accept this? Or I never really understood what it was. Wake of Mine said QAnon is mostly first era Trump fringe, still around but more underground. If we remember correctly. I don't know shit about it. I do know that from what I understand, that it was closely connected to the idea of the election being stolen and that it was going to be overturned and Trump would be in office. Yeah, definitely not as much around, but that's what is it? What was it? What did y'all believe?
Someone who could pull off a QAnon type deal.
Checks every box.
Yeah, super smart, you know, internet shit poster, you know.
Was like, and is that like a Groyper thing? Is there an overlap with Groypers and QAnon, or is those just two different groups? Or like, I don't know. This fringe stuff, it's hilarious how prevalent the left thinks this stuff is. Like, I do this. This is my job. I don't even know what the fuck it was. Kind of went underground. Fair enough.
Running 4chan, you know, and like that's the whole thing over there. Is like get people to do stuff that's stupid.
Right.
Like they got women to free bleed. They started pushing this idea that you know it's the patriarchy is making you wear a tampon, and you should just your menstrual cycle should just flow in your pants, and who cares?
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking. Is as Q died, is it the same people that you know joined into the Groyper movement, or is it just completely different things?
And this is like a sign of your strong femininity. It was just them being crazy, and then a bunch of women just adopted it.
Wow.
Not for long.
Right.
It's gross. They were like, "This is stupid."
Yeah.
Probably lasted a couple weeks, but
I think Charlie Voice Critical was it him or maybe it was Abin Preach or somebody was just talking about this chick this trend of women just going outside and free bleeding into the grass because it brings you closer to nature or something. Whatever floats your boat, peeps.
Right.
It's gross. They were like, "This is stupid." Probably last a couple weeks, but a bunch of women. Wow. But that's people are really susceptible. You could get people to do that. Not everybody,
right?
But it's just like the Haight-Ashbury free clinic thing. Not everybody's going to join your cult,
right?
But if you open up a free clinic, you're going to get enough, you know, lost children that come in through your doors.
Well, they're going to need your legit services to start with. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you got to sort it out.
Right.
You know? It's just nuts that's our government. That's our daddies, our government daddies, the people that we're supposed to be looking to help us lead a prosperous life and secure our.
Is that what you've been thinking about politicians, bro? Is that what you've been thinking about politicians? Because I certainly don't look at them as daddy.
Standing in the world and make sure we grow financially. And these motherfuckers did all that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, ultimate power, right?
Yeah. In any form. Well, they bringing it back to stardom. Like that's a weird power to get.
Here we go.
It's especially when you're 21 years old. Like
stardom.
You are. It's a weird power. Weird amount of.
Not to mention, he, you know, going back to Charlie Sheen, that he was 21 when he got famous from Platoon, but he was already in stuff before that, and then of course his dad was Martin Sheen. So it's not like he had a normal upbringing. And when like all the Tiger Blood stuff was going around, same kind of thing that I was younger and it was just the meme. I didn't have the wherewithal to understand like, oh, this is a sick person. This shouldn't be funny. And the fact that a lot of grown people were just taking it as funny. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Mine said lots of them went to jail, then got pardoned. Now kind of quiet. If I was them, I think that's a good move. I think that's a good move.
When you're 21 years old, like
Start
you
'em.
were.
Yeah,
It's a weird power, weird amount of freedom, weird amount of like people expecting you to be kind of wild.
Sure. Yeah, and again, that thing you talked about where you watch it happen to others, and then suddenly it's you. It's a lot more. It's a lot more intoxicating. And then I would always think, okay, so how were they able to control it? Why didn't I see them enjoying it at this level? And it wasn't about, I'm going to show them the way they should have been doing it. It was just about, hey guys, okay, cool. No, it finally made its way over here, and it can go to 11, and not burn the whole house down.
Or in your case, 15.
When it was still fun, when it was still creative and productive on some level.
Oh, the good old days when drugs were still fun. Oh, do I miss those days?
Because it wasn't about, it was still having to show up, and it was still, carving out enough time for the party, but also reserving enough, energy for the job.
Right. That's the balance.
That's the balance.
And some people pull it off. Some people, they're really disciplined and they pull off the work, and then they pull off the party.
We got
right. And I was able to maintain that.
Oh no! Are they really gonna? Oh my god! Oh my god! Heads up! We've detected your video on your stream belonging to someone else. This is never an issue with Rogan stuff. Oh my god! So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the Rumble link in the chat. And if we get cut, I'm just sticking on Rumble. I don't have the patience for it. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. So we'll see how long. If we can run with it, then we'll run with it. I'm gonna try to break it up and talk a lot. We definitely have been letting that run as they've just been kind of going along with the conspiracy theory stuff. But we're here as long as we're here. Wake Up Mind said the trouble with politics nowadays is that the people feel alienated by the establishment, whoever they believe it to be, right or left. However, the real trouble is the corporate rating against the U.S. I don't disagree at all, and that is a big reason why I was frustrated with when I was watching Mr. Robot, because that's what I thought the show was about. And if you haven't seen it and you saw like marketing from it, then you would expect that this would be exactly what they're doing. And it's not a bad show, but it's just not really about that. It's more just about the character, and it's you're learning about the character with the background of all that stuff going on. And it's just there's so much there in terms of, like you're saying, whoever you believe the establishment to be, whether you're right or left, whether you're whatever, this is something we can all agree is fucking America. And that is not good. And yet then they drop the ball. But all right, warning has gone away. We will try to break it up a little bit more. Again, the link to the full thing is in the description. If you can't stand my breaks, we're going to do what we got to do. All right.
Time. And even when it flamed out, like those early rehabs, and there was always there was a job like the day I got out.
Wow.
Scripts showing up in rehab.
That's a big part of the documentary is about consequences. And when you live this type of life, specifically the way that Charlie did, where he would go, hit rock bottom and then go to rehab and then come out, and then he'd have, a bunch of movie scripts and a bunch of opportunities. It's like, well, then why would you expect that he would want to do anything different? When I remember watching the Tiger Blood winning stuff and being like, thinking like, you have so much. Why are you destroying yourself? And very clearly, it's because the lack of structure outside of the movies and TV shows he was in. It was all about drugs and sex and everything else. What did I do? Okay.
And it's like they want you to get well, okay? They want you to get better, but as soon as you're
well, they are ready to put you right back
Out
on
of
the
here.
big
You know,
screen.
we got some good stuff for you to look at.
There's also, unfortunately, a romantic notion of a guy getting out of rehab.
Interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
How many cop shows start with a guy who's down on his dumps, putting a pizza in a blender for breakfast?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Nick, can you do me a favor, please? Copy the link that I just put in case the stream goes down. Just plop that in the chat, and then whoever's gonna come over, will come over.
And like really like at his lowest of low points,
Right.
drinking, and then maybe his daughter cries and he throws the bottles into the trash can and he's like, I'm done. And now he's back. And there's a romantic thing of getting your shit together.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, Charlie's back, better than ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's you know, everybody's rooting for you again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How many times can you go through that before you think this is what life is? You fuck up, and then everybody's like, "Yay, you're back!" Like a mindset, people gotta stay off the drugs. The pills and the booze will make monsters out of men. Well, I don't disagree, as I drink my own alcohol. But moderation, all things in moderation. It is very clear that there are certain people who can, who can engage in this stuff, and it doesn't take over their lives. And then other people are not those people where it will take over their lives. I mean, if you are, I think you can see it in other areas of your life. If you tend to, even like you find a new video game and then you do nothing but play that video game for the next 2 weeks, well, maybe drugs aren't the best thing for you. If you, find a new song that you like and you listen to nothing else, that is a good idea, Nick. I should definitely do that. Yes, it is in the free chat. What was I saying? And yeah, other people aren't like that. And I am one of those people where I just get addicted to anything. But I've also realized that I'm an addict of convenience, meaning if it's there, I can't not do it. But if it's not right in front of my face, out of sight, out of mind. But learning those things is, balance is key. Moderation is indeed important, because I do think there's a lot of stuff that we don't need to, there's a lot of stuff that we don't need to engage in that, but there's a lot of things that, you can benefit from dipping your toe in the water. And I think drugs can be one of those things, especially if we're talking about psychedelics. Now, if we're talking about crack and meth and heroin and stuff like that, maybe you'll be all right. I mean, still great, but yes, moderation. Nearly 100 years ago, reefer madness was the big scare. Now the problem is drugs made in a lab for medical use being abused. Yep, it's almost like if we had stuck with the natural stuff, then we'd be much better off. But then where would all those drug arrests come from?
Yeah, and it's everybody's rooting for you again.
Yeah,
and they're expecting the guy to deliver.
Yeah, with passion now. Real
Not all natural, mostly natural.
life experience. Be a drug addict.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at Robert Downey Jr. now.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
people love that. They love that.
But the same thing was happening to Downey when he was in rehab, or maybe when he was even in the pen. When they people were bringing him.
Pen.
I think they brought him Ally McBeal when he was still in jail. And I think he still got high after that. And my dad would always be like yelling at the television. It's like, stop rewarding this behavior. Stop rewarding it. Let him sit in those consequences. Not out of judgment or out of punishment, or just out of love,
to help him get his shit together.
Yeah.
If you keep letting them fuck up over and over again, they'll continue to fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's always a carrot the day you walk out, something to chase and a soft landing.
Yeah.
That's what was really interesting about this, this decade long timeout that I got put into, which
it really was. It has been a decade. It has been a long time since he's been around.
At some point the punishment has to sort of fit the crime. Right. Yeah, it felt like it was a little bit longer than it should have been. Yeah. I don't remember any murder charges, but at the same time, there's not a chance that I could have done the two projects the book came out yesterday and the doc comes out today,
Yeah, and again, the documentary. I haven't read the book, but the documentary is it's a 2-part thing. So it's kind of like, I think it's like 83 minutes and 92 minutes or something like that. So it's essentially a 2-part documentary, and each part is a full documentary. But the early part is him talking about how he is, not really talking to him as much, but more talking about him, talking to other people in his life, and he's definitely part of it. But it's setting up the 3 different stages of his life, as he says. There's I think it was partying with problems, and then just problems, or something like that. And it's really good. I mean, documentaries are documentaries. I like a good documentary. If you like the subject matter, you're probably going to like the documentary, but I think it was well done. Shout out to Boggs. Welcome to the party. Tonight by winning. I win here, I win there. I'm on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. There we go. Welcome to the party. Again, we have the warning up, so I'm trying to break this up as much as we can. Hopefully, it'll just stay a warning. If the stream does go down, we are still going on Rumble. Nick will drop the link if I am not able to, but the party rages on.
I couldn't have done either unless I had the kind of perspective and distance from all of that I was able to find.
You've been sober for how long? 7 years?
Coming up on 8. Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah, I'll be 8 in December.
Imagine that from I'm banging 7-gram rocks. You guys remember that clip? Let's take a side quest with that and remind ourselves just how crazy Charlie Sheen was. Come on. Charlie Sheen. Let's do this one.
He really wanted to prove to you that he is clean now.
Yes, good morning again, George. And he claims...
And this was when? This was posted in March of 2011. So I think that was right about the time.
No drugs right now, but we did talk a lot about his past drug use. Charlie Sheen has never been more candid about it and makes no excuses for it. He also shared with us some of what really happened that night last month when he was rushed to the hospital after...
I don't actually know. I think, if I remember, he was talking about how he has tiger blood, but I think we're going to find out.
A drug-filled night with porn stars.
Hell yeah!
Your anger and your hate, I think, is coming off as erratic to people.
And look what Box just said before that. He does look pretty good. Then we rewind the clock 10 years. Or 15 years. And he looks like this.
Your anger.
Damn.
And your hate, I think, is coming off as erratic to people.
My passion.
Okay, your passion is coming off as erratic to people.
Well, you borrow my brain for 5 seconds and just be like, dude, can't handle it. Unplug this bastard. Yeah, because it fires in a way that is, I don't know, maybe not from this particular terrestrial realm.
I think some of those things that you're putting out there are making people think something's wrong with you.
That has nothing to do with me, really. I mean, they're entitled to, I suppose, interpret stuff as they must. Some are doctor of.
Some are saying that you're bipolar.
I gotta pause it there. But I also want to point out that it's one thing to look back now and laugh about this when he has 8 years sober. But at the time, again, I was in high school. I don't understand why full-grown adults were like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome." Like this is not awesome. It's only awesome now in hindsight because he's not dead.
Interpret stuff as they must. Some are doctor of.
Some are saying that you're bipolar.
Wow, what does that mean?
I guess that you're on 2 ends of the spectrum.
Wow, and then what? What's the cure? Medicine? Make me like them? Not gonna happen.
God damn! Spitting fire! Nick said, dude, you could smoke one of Charlie Sheen's fingernail clippings and be high for a year. God damn. The year of the tiger. Possibly.
Wow. And then what? What's the cure? Medicine? Make me like them? Not going to happen. I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what? If I'm bipolar, aren't there moments where a guy like crashes and like in the corner, like, oh my God, it's all my mom's fault? Shut up. Shut up. Stop. Move forward.
Have you had any celebrities reach out to you to try and help you?
Yeah, like radical people like Sean Penn and Mel Gibson and Colin Farrell and just radical people. And they're not telling me what to do.
Who gave you the best piece of advice?
Well, they didn't give me any advice. And within that, there's great advice. It was just love. And so,
That's actually, I mean, profound is a strong word, but there's actually a point there. There's actually a point there within the acceptance and love is its own advice. Now, is it the appropriate advice for that specific situation? No, but I mean, he's spitting. And
within that, there's great advice. It was just love. And so, just to see, it's oftentimes says unknown, but occasionally, a giant marquee name comes through on your caller ID and it's like winning.
When was the last time you
used? I use a blender. I use a vacuum cleaner. I use, household items. When was the last time I ingested or took drugs?
Yes. When was the last time you took drugs?
Such an AA stupid.
He would do all of it. I believe at this time, he was more into downers than he was earlier in his career. But yeah, he was definitely a huge cokehead, and he would smoke cocaine. But it wasn't crack. He wouldn't, as far as I know, as far as the documentary says, he wasn't doing crack cocaine, but he was taking the just pure cocaine and smoking it and shooting it.
I ingested or took drugs?
Yes. When was the last time you took drugs?
Such an AA stupid expression or term. I don't remember. I do not remember.
A week ago, 2 weeks ago,
maybe a month
2 days ago,
6 weeks. I don't know. It was a couple days before the suits rolled in and said, change everything. We're shutting you down.
Sure, it wasn't 10 minutes ago. You're sure?
Tell me about the last time you took drugs.
The last time I took drugs, I probably took more than anybody could survive. What
are we talking about? How much?
I don't know, man. I was banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them because that's how I roll. I have one speed. I have one gear. Go.
How do you survive that?
Because I'm me. Because I'm me. I'm different. I just have a different costume.
Shout out to Bert Kreischer. If anybody knows Bert Kreischer, this is gonna be him in like a year. In like a year. Go.
Constitution. Because I'm me. Because I'm me. I'm different. I just have a different constitution. I have a different brain. I have a different heart. I have a different, I got tiger blood, man.
You don't worry that you're gonna die when you take.
There it is. I've got tiger blood. I've got tiger blood.
Brain, I have a different heart. I have a different, I got tiger blood, man.
You don't worry that you're going to die when you take that many drugs.
Dying's for fools.
But you're only human.
Now, there's certain blends I will not entertain because that's how people go down. I'm too smart to do that. So, I'm sorry for the guys that happened to, but you should.
Yeah, I mean, can you not see that he Bernd Kreischer would turn into this in a year? I mean, especially if you follow the space and you saw that Stabby and Chris just ended their podcast. I could see it. Yeah, and Brent certainly doesn't do that.
Should have read the directions before you showed up at the party,
So you actually have a strategy about how you take your drugs?
No, I just have a couple of rules. I don't know if it's a strategy.
You're clean right now.
Sure.
So is this better now? Your life now, clean with your children?
Yeah,
is it better than being on drugs?
Perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. No, it doesn't compare. They're whole different realities,
There's
not so great things about both.
What are we doing here?
What I'm harnessing now is absolute, focus.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting. It's exciting. I've come back from a place that, people can put labels on it and they can figure all this stuff out. They can try to normalize it, boring, stupid, and.
I want to highlight again how weird it is that so many grown ass people were watching this and laughing at it. Again, laughing at it now is one thing because we see that he is alive and still sober, but why was this funny to people?
That's fine, but for me,
and when I say that, I mean obviously it is funny on its face because he's acting erratic. But aside from laughing at the things that he's saying, and then acknowledging that what he said was funny, but this is a sad situation. Where was that? Where was that differentiation? He said, if he's sober, I'm at 10 foot tall. I said, shit, me too. But one joke, he never recovered from his trip to Russia, kind of like Al Bundy, but different. Yup. Different how? Lucky, maybe, but he is not any different than any other Hollywood drug addict. Poisoned with too much. Well, that's what the drugs do. That's what the drugs do. They tell you that you are invincible. They are invincible, or you are invincible. And drugs are a hell of a drug.
I've just answered to a higher calling, and it happened in the blink of an eye, and I'm totally excited by it, you know.
Are you worried you're going to relapse?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not going to, period, the end.
But how do you
I blinked
know?
and I cured my brain. That's how. Everybody has the power, just because everybody, you know, can't is the cancer of happen.
Mm-hmm.
Can't is the cancer of happen. This is like, I mean, I don't remember this at all. This was a lot more poignant than it deserved to be.
Can't is the cancer of happen. I can't do it. The Nike slogan doesn't say, just try it. Oh, okay. Just try it. No, just do it, man.
But you love to party.
I love to party. I love. Paul said drugs are pretty cool. Just, you know, enjoy in moderation. I wish they were legal. Don't we all? Don't we all?
Okay. Just try it. No, just do it, man.
But you love to party.
I mean, what's not to love?
How do
Especially
you?
when you see how I party, man. It was epic. The run I was on made Sinatra, Flynn, Jagger, Richards, all of them just look like, you know, droopy-eyed, armless children.
When you look back at the last time you used drugs, are you disgusted with yourself, or do you think, how could I have done that?
I'm proud of what I've created. It was radical.
You're proud of that party moment?
Of course. Why wouldn't I be?
Drugs?
No,
Why would you be?
Because I expose people to magic. I expose them to something they're never otherwise going to see in their boring, normal lives. And I gave that.
And I'm playing this whole thing specifically because they do address this interview with Rogan. And I think it's relevant to see it in full. I mean, it's entertaining enough. Why not? But it's important to see how that the number one, how Charlie looks at this interview now. And two, just the side-by-side comparison of 14, 15 years ago, this guy. And then today we have an older version of the same guy who's done all of those drugs, and he ain't like this.
To them. I may forget about them tomorrow, but they'll live with that memory for the rest of their lives. And that's a gift, man.
One of the women said that she was afraid she might OD. One of the women who was here.
What's that got to do with me?
You're showing them the party.
I just, you know, that's got nothing to do with me. That's all on her. And
I agree. I'm sorry, but I agree. If you, as a grown adult, choose to go somewhere knowing that there's going to be drugs and then do those drugs, it is your fault if you do too many drugs. Now, if it's spiked or something, that's a different story. But if you do too many drugs, you did too many drugs. Oh, God damn it.
If she
Need my
does,
mouse back. I still don't have my regular mouse. I got to get another one. We got a pause button on.
I'm sorry.
You say that you like the feeling of being on drugs, and it's
Not
exciting
anymore,
and fun.
Not anymore. It bored the hell out of me after a while. I was like, okay, let's try something else.
How can anyone believe that you will stay clean, given your track record?
I'm not interested in what people believe. I'm interested in.
Yeah, Wake of Mine is saying if safe limits and dosages were public knowledge, definitely. People need more knowledge about biochemistry. And the fact of the matter is that the more time we spend demonizing drugs, instead of just demonizing the effects of drugs and you know, whatever else, then we are not going to learn about this stuff. And that is precisely the same argument I have with religion, where it's, you know, if we want to get better, then we have to acknowledge that what we have is not ideal. And the way that we talk about and understand drugs in this society is not ideal. And I would say the same about religion. Yeah, ironically, cannabis hemp was medicine for a very long time. Cannabis hemp, cannabis in general, still very much is a medicine.
That you will stay clean, given your track record.
I'm not interested in what people believe. I'm interested in what I believe, and I believe in the truth, and that's what rules me.
And Charlie Sheen did end up taking that drug test while we were in his home. He passed the urine test, but also took a more comprehensive blood test that would reveal if even more drugs were taken. Charlie Sheen has got to be on drugs again.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I am on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. It's not available because if you try it once, you will die. Your face will melt off, and your children will weep over your exploded body. Too much. So it's just I woke up and decided, I've been kicked around, I've been criticized, I've been like the aw shucks guy with like this bitch in rock star life, and I'm just finally gonna completely embrace it, wrap both arms around it, and love it violently, and defend it violently through violent hatred.
I will say that there is a jealousy that I have of somebody who can go through a drug a bender or whatever you want to call it, like that, an addiction like that, and be able to fully enjoy it. And what I mean is that there's so much of not having enough money, getting stolen from, all this kind of stuff that people like Charlie Sheen didn't really have to deal with. Yep. R.I.P. Easy.
I was telling you, man, I'm here and I'm ready. They're not. Bring it.
Finally, CBS had enough, shutting down 2.5 Men for the rest of the season, putting Sheen and the entire staff out of work.
Were you shocked when they shut down 2.5 Men again indefinitely?
Yeah, I was actually disappointed because
we do have the running poll, guys. Did you watch 2.5 Men? Responses being, I've seen it, but not really. Yes, love it. Yes, it's all right. Or never seen a full episode. Most of you have never seen a full episode. And my dad used to love the show. So I've seen a couple episodes here and there, but I was never a big fan. But this makes me want to go back and watch it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was actually disappointed because I thought, I think the mistakes I made is that people misinterpret my passion for anger.
Stopping the show is costing an estimated $250 million all around.
It's going to cost
everybody
them a lot
involved.
more. It's going to cost them a lot more because they're on a battlefield and they let their emotions and their ego, basically they strapped on their diapers. And so they're in breach. They're in radical breach. And sorry, guys.
Yeah, I agree. There was definitely funny scenes. The laugh track really turned me off. But I also just assumed that a show like that, a sitcom. This was before I was into The Office and How I Met Your Mother and Parks and Rec and all that stuff. I just assumed that a network sitcom was just going to be lowbrow and stuff. Box said I had cable off and on, so if it was on cable, that's probably why. No, it was pretty sure it was CBS. Yeah, CBS. Definitely had TGIF. That 70s show is great. That 80s show, not really. I think they did that 90s show, right? Yeah, didn't work. How much we got left? All right, let's just watch this last segment and then we'll head back to JRE.
Guys, you screwed up.
Are you going to sue?
Well, I mean, wouldn't you? I don't have a job. I got a whole family to support and love. And people beyond myself, people a lot more important than me, are relying on that money to fuel the magic.
What are you going to sue for?
Tons. They're going to actually put it on a scale and be like, little more. Add some gold. Bingo.
I love how he's like thinking about the money when I'm pretty sure that she was asking, by what statute are you going to sue?
Money to self. People fuel the magic.
What are you going to sue for?
Tons. They're going to actually put it on a scale and be like, little more. Add some gold. Bingo. I'm here to collect. And they're going to lose. They're going to lose in a courtroom. So I would recommend that they do an out-of-court settlement and fix this whole thing and pay the crew and get season 9 back on board.
But that could be tough. Sheen has been accused of being anti-Semitic in some of his remarks about the series creator, Chuck Lorre.
It's nothing this side of deplorable that a certain Chaim Levine, that's Chuck's real name, mistook this rock star for his own selfish exit strategy, bro.
Really upset about how something was interpreted that I feel terrible about. So I think we should just clear the air on that. They've been like suddenly labeling me an anti-Semite. It's like,
all right, well, now that this is much more relevant, we'll give it one more segment.
People that know me, that there's nothing about that in my history anywhere.
I think the problem was, though, is that he goes by the name Chuck Lorre. His real name is Charles Levine,
right.
But you chose to call him Heimlevines. You took the Hebrew version, which I think people were wondering, why would he do that?
He says it was a joke after seeing the name.
Wait, let him answer. He's answering. Why are you talking over him?
Which I think people were wondering, why would he do that?
He says it was a joke after seeing the name in a brief message posted by Laurie himself at the end of 2.5 Men.
I would say, I'm sorry if I offended you. I didn't know you were so sensitive. Sorry if I offended you. I just thought, after you wailing on me for 8 years that I could take a few shots back. I didn't know you were going to take.
I agree. I always found it off-putting when people would stick the whole fucking thing. It's less rest on your lips. There you go. Weird.
Your little ball and go home and punish everybody in the process.
But it's Sheen's character that has come into question time and time again.
The one thing I'm finding about you is that you
shout out to Bugler. If you know, you know.
You seem really nice. You seem like you love your children.
Yeah, man, I'm the nicest guy you want to meet.
But then you hear about this violent side.
Yeah, it's obvious.
When you drink, are these women making this up, or is this really happening? Tell us, what really happened in that house in Aspen? What really happened in that hotel room in New York City?
I can't do that right here because that means I have to expose people, and regardless of what tomfoolery or skullduggery they rolled in with, I can't do that. I don't roll people.
Were you
not
violent?
a rat. No.
Based.
No, it's not.
All right. So again, I will drop the link here if you guys would like to see that in full. But yeah, I think it is important to kind of see who that was. And again, this video was posted March 10th of 2011. Is there anything about the exact date? Somebody said, who's here after the Joe Rogan interview? Me. All right. Diving back in here. 8 years clean.
Sober for how long? 7 years?
Coming up on 8. Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah, I'll be 8 in December.
That probably helped a lot to be away from everything for you to achieve that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was still doing things to, just kind of stay in the mix a little bit. And, I do signings, I do speaking engagements, do stuff like that. But it was also like,
I thought he meant staying in the mix, with drugs.
Like as soon as I quit drinking, all my kids started showing up again. And,
imagine that
were living there, and then they'd cycle back with Denise, and then Bob and Max would show up, and then Brooke would come back, and okay, so he's going to be here, and then Lola would show back up. So my house was kind of like, this. It was like a clubhouse,
Yep. And you can see he's just more present. He's more present. He's not, which is a good word. And he is a lot older. And it's still that same guy that did all those drugs. But yeah, he was sober during that, right?
So my house was kind of like this. It was like a clubhouse, And I write in the book that my vacancy sign, for those children, always hangs facing out. So it was, being
guys, don't forget about the Swogo. We have not gotten a single donation for Morty or for my puny little arms. I need your help. 99 cents will do it.
Always hangs facing out, So it was, being called to a much more responsible and complicated set of responsibilities and order, and just having to do stuff that they didn't care about. A rating of a show or response to a movie or any popularity or IMDb, stuff. They were just with the basic needs and getting to school and help with this. And so it was really cool to suddenly just be that's the only stuff that mattered to the people that matter the most.
Yep. It's crazy how he looks older, but looks healthier. That's because he is. Absolutely. Box and my addictions have always been directly related to the access and money for drugs. Break any part of that triangle and it all just fell apart. Poverty kept me from becoming addicted at least twice. I said, shit, me too. Exactly the same thing. And I mean, there was there was a moment where I don't know if it was a moment or if it was a short period or whatever, but for the purpose of the story, it was a moment where I realized that I was deep in the pills. I was doing 50 to 100 milligrams of Roxys and Oxys just to get up there. I would be adding a bar of Xanax, if not more, smoking on top of that. If there's coke around, I would do that too. But that was the only focus in my life. And I got to a point where I realized, like, oh, fuck. All right, we've rode this wave as long as we could, and it's going to turn into another wave. And that other wave is really being a heroin addict. And so either we got to fix something, or we're going down that road. And I did not want to go down that road. Waco said there's a simple honor in poverty. I don't know. Hey, we got Trey Williams. Welcome to the party. Said 2.5 Men, top 20 sitcom of all time. Okay, fair. I'm trying to think because top 20 is like, okay, but is the 20th best sitcom even that good? I don't know. But I was saying after seeing the documentary, I definitely got to at least see what it is. I've seen episodes when my dad was watching, but I've never watched it through. But I definitely got to check that out. Welcome to the party, sir. Yep. I want to do the thing. I just can't afford to. Not a bad thing. Yep. That's the core of it. You got it, brother.
That matters.
That's kind of what I meant before when I was talking about the privilege of being able to just indulge and not have to worry about having the money, not having to worry about dealing with shady people, not having to worry about waiting for this guy to hit you back to get to that guy, and then you meet him up and you wait for an hour after he tells you it's going to be 10 minutes and like that whole thing. I'm pretty sure that you get to a certain level way below Charlie Sheen and you just get somebody that delivers it to you. So I don't know. Shout out to Equality and Deference because vagina. Welcome, said Tiger Blood for the win. Also said liked and shared again, guys. Thank you so very, very much. That stuff is it's free. It's easy. It helps out the channel so very much. Again, it does not even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link. Just by you telling YouTube, X, or Rumble that you want more people to see it, they will show it to more people. Thank you so much and welcome to the party. Like a Mind said, glad you've shifted to a healthier alternative. The pills are too hard on the bodies of people. The hemp and shrooms are better for people. The research seems to show that at least. Absolutely. It does. Absolutely. Trey said, yes, it is still good. And I also add in cartoons like The Simpsons. I mean, yeah, Simpsons definitely stands the test of time. I'm just trying to think how, like, what is the if you're gonna say top 3, then like that is an emotion or a level of excitement or a level of passion that I can think of. But when you say top 20, that waters that down a lot. And so my top 20 and your top 20, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, so you're saying that it's not a bad show. Because I mean, the rest of your top 20 might be shit. I don't know. All right, let's dive back in.
Suddenly just be that's the only stuff that mattered to the people that matter the most. And so but you're right that none of that could have happened if I was away on location or having to be at a studio every week but I think it was about the time that it created, so and it's interesting that I'm not
I forgot that. Wait, they were dropping single episodes, right? I forgot that they had a new season. Oh my God. Shout out to Waco Mine. I can't wait to catch up with the new King of the Hill. I saw the first episode or the first 2 episodes. Dilly. But yeah, good call. Like that. King of the Hill is definitely top 5 at least. And so I'm saying top 20 seems more important. Fair enough. But all I'm saying is that it doesn't tell me much. It doesn't tell me much because I don't know your preferences. And it's interesting that I'm not looking at this as a comeback, I think it's a reset. And I didn't rely on anything that I'd done before. Never written a book, never done a documentary, but to come back with 2 projects that everybody seems to be really
excited about.
Documentary is very entertaining.
Awesome.
Yeah. Again, I will say that it is worth watching if you know somebody who's got Netflix and you don't have it, or the sites. It is worth your time. It's about 3 hours in total. Like I said, it's 2 approximately 90-minute episodes, if you call them that.
Everybody seems to be really excited about.
Documentary is very entertaining.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's very entertaining.
Thank you.
It's really well done. Like the way it's put together, and it's just so the stories are fucking bananas. It's just so so bananas. It's the whole thing was just so nuts. But like I said, everybody loves the story of someone getting their shit together, and that's a great accomplishment of being sober for almost 8 years. It really is.
Yep. And shout out to you guys. I'm very glad. I don't know if you, some of you saw, but I put out a community tab poll of whether you guys wanted to cover this, or I had when Charlie Kirk went on Jordan Peterson's show, and they were talking a lot, about his childhood and stuff like that. And we're still in that space of, the tension is still high. We need something, but is it fair to? I didn't know, and so I think that one maybe we'll save till next year, maybe the anniversary or something like that. But it is, I'm glad to be able to have a little bit more lightheartedness with you guys, because it's been a rough week. It's been a rough week for all of us
getting the shit together, and that's a great accomplishment of being sober for almost 8 years. It really is.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's people are going to yell at me because of how I deal with the AA in the book, and that's fine. I just speak to my personal experiences. I'm not.
How do you deal with it?
That I tried it for a long time. I for a combined 21 years, and just decided that I had to give this a go on my own.
So you just do it completely on your own. You don't have any person you call or any.
No, I mean, there's people that are sober that I still talk to and see.
You don't have a sponsor or something.
I don't. No.
And, I don't know how you guys feel about the idea that AA is the only way, and you must give up to a higher power, and da. Even though they specifically say higher power and not specifically God, I think it is, and I've heard this from a lot of, maybe not a lot, but a number of other people who have been through addiction and rehab and all that stuff, and I wonder how much it deters people from finding their version of recovery, because they can't go stone cold AA. They can't buy into the higher power stuff. They don't want to sit and listen to everybody else's stories and stuff like that. It's very clear that there's a lot of people who've gotten sober through AA, but I think it's important to show that there's not one way to get sober. There's not one way to live your life. And, people talk about California sober and, whatever. I think, whatever is best for you is best for you. We got that one. Box said, I cried a little this weekend. Charlie Kirk messed me up like Hitch did. Took me a couple days to really kick in. Yeah, I mean, I think it hit us all. AA helps. There are better programs. I like when people come into judges and give, I don't know what that means. I watch a lot of court TV, and the people that come back to the courtroom to thank the judge always moves me. Yeah, you see that a lot, where a judge could give you a slap on the wrist or anything, or something, and they say, no, this is not what is going to help you. I'm not going to enable you. I'm going to throw your ass in jail, and then it actually helps them. Well, he said, when they say higher power, they may mean Chuck Norris. Well, if that's the case, I take back everything I said. Well, like I said, getting sober was so strange for me. I still feel like a complete stoner, even though I haven't smoked in at least 5 years. It just kind of happened. I didn't even really decide to. Haven't smoked more than a handful of times at most. And I think that is another part of the addictive opportunity thing that I'm talking about. When I was in college, I just didn't have shit to do, so I would just sit around and smoke all day. Then when I got a job and I had to work, I was just smoking less because I had other shit to do. I'm sure as you, I don't know exactly the timeline, but, find a girl that, doesn't want you just fucking slumped all the time, wants to go out and wants you to meet her friends, all that kind of stuff. All that is going to for somebody like me really impact the level of engagement I have. You know, we were recently talking about when I had the fireball shooters, right? And you know, I was doing that at work, and so I bought the pack of shooters, and then I was like, I'm not fucking wasting money on shooters. I'm just gonna buy a handle and then fill the shooters and then bring those with me. And even after I got fired for something different, you know, I had a decent amount, you know, like the handle and about that much left, you know, big handle, and it was hard for me not to be like, all right, well, you know, I'll just do 2 shooters. And I love the I don't know what it is, the tactile aspect of that little, take a little nip. And yeah, and you know, I couldn't prevent myself from doing it. And then it ran out. It was totally fine. I wasn't jonesing. Nothing. I just it just wasn't there. Well, out of sight, out of mind. Box said in AA, you get a coin, and people go back to give their judges their coin. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying. A pack of minis is wild work. Not in one day. I just bought, again, you know, I was like, let me get 10 of them. They came in a pack. So whatever. I was like, all right, I'll bring 4 with me, but I'm gonna try to do only 2. And then if I break into the 3rd one, no problem. The 4th one is there just so that it's not, I'm getting close to the end of the 3rd one, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna have any left. It's definitely a skill to be a functional addict. I will tell you that. Trey said, I was so happy that I was a highly functioning pothead with how much I smoked. Yeah, I mean, some people could do it and some people cannot. I know people who would take one little puff and they'd be done for the day. And that's just not how it was. Obviously, in the early days, you know, the first few times, you get slumped from a couple hits. But I mean, Morty, what are you doing? Are you okay? What are you doing here? You're gonna hurt yourself. Dumb dog who has not eaten yet. But yeah, some people can do it and some people can't. Shout out to the Neo Evangelist. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I remember you on the tomato panel. Shout out to the Raging Tomato. Welcome. And thank you. Yes, this is the Overlord, Morty, and of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty, and we have none. Morty has no treats. He is hungry. Welcome to the party. We also got Bonzi. Welcome. Very good to see you. Yes, Dilly, R.I.P. to Charlie Kirk. We are with a different Charlie today, though. The Tiger Blood Charlie. Welcome. So Guamtech said, there are times I do think about an Adderall for work reasons. Yeah, for a friend, right? We fired a guy for drinking minis on the job. He was on the 99 bananas. Yeah, it's just the way it goes. It's fun. Hey, there we go. Shout out to Box. Thank you so much. Starting us off on that swell goal. Of course, getting Morty a treat here. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very much appreciated. And oh my goodness, there we go. We are off to the races. Guamtech with $1 there. And now just like that, we are almost 1/5 of the way to the goal, guys. It don't take a lot. Thank you so very much appreciated. Let's dive right back in.
Have a sponsor or something
I don't. No.
I know it does help some people.
Of course. And that's why I don't want to say that I'm not recommending that this is another,
right.
But
you're just saying your truth. This is how you do it. Yeah. I had a very good friend who was an alcoholic who quit one day. He crashed his car, ran from the cops on foot, got arrested. And then he's like, what am I doing with my life? I'm done. And he quit.
That day.
Never had a drink again. I knew him for 20 years.
It happens. It can happen. Yeah.
Thank you again, gentlemen. And yeah, I mean, it's the same way Trey was just saying, you know, that he could be a functional pothead. I was the same way. I would smoke before classes, before exams, before work, before everything. It was just the way that I did things. And I had friends who were also potheads, but they could only smoke when they had nothing else to do. And that's just how we rolled.
But I think that I do have the experience of all of that time in and around the rooms, and that's not to say that I don't still remember a couple of nuggets, a couple of things that still stuck with me that I still thought you still see as valuable,
right?
But there's a line in the book that it's hard to ask for help when somebody else has raised your hand for you. Interventions, you get pulled into a thing, you're told to do this, and all you're doing is just counting the days.
Yeah, that's a part of the documentary too. When the first intervention, when you got brought into a room and everybody's sitting there waiting for you, you thought it was a party.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was a little suspicious because it's 9 a.m. Why is Dad having a 9 a.m. birthday party?
Right.
Unless we're
they told Charlie that Martin Sheen, they were going to do a birthday party at 9 a.m. for his 50th or whatever birthday, and he walks in. And it's an intervention. Bonzing said, I used to smoke at work. I stopped because I wanted to be taken more seriously. And in that respect, it has helped. Well, there you go. But yeah, I would be doing that same shit too. I would have the, especially once we got, especially once we got the vapes that were a little bit easier to conceal. Oh man, we were off to the races. Any moment we could be high, we would be high. When I was a mule, my boss told me to my face that he liked me more sober than high. I took that to heart and it's helped me. Well, there you go. Yeah, and I mean, can you blame anybody? Can you blame anybody? I know that I can be functional, but I also know that I'm less functional. Like, that's why I don't smoke before. That's why I don't smoke before streams. I have no idea why this is doing this. There we go. Okay. All right. Agreed.
Because it's 9 a.m. Why is Dad having a 9 a.m. birthday party?
Right.
Unless we're going to Magic Mountain, right? That's usually the time you leave.
Right.
That's usually for 7.
And thank you for the likes on the super chats, guys. I very, very, very much appreciate that. Very, very much. Hey, Frank is back. Frankie Frank.
7-year-old, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that was wild. That is something that I can still see as it happened on the day.
Really?
Turning that corner in the hallway into my parents' living room and my brain is still trying to turn it into a birthday party. My brain, I insisted that that's
It's a weird party. Everybody's pretty chill, but I mean, I guess it is 9 a.m. So it all fits.
We're there for,
That's funny.
And it's just when it starts to dawn on you. Like, have you ever taken a sip of something that was in the wrong bottle, but your brain saw the label? And
oh man. I had roommates that would what do you call it? Would you pack a lip? And they would just have spit cans and spit bottles all over the place. And I was always so careful to I was living, remember, those of you that know, I went to a school where the fraternities weren't allowed to have houses on campus. So they were off-campus houses. They were unofficial. So they weren't like, directly related. That's where the frat brothers lived. And so I had some friends that were in that frat, ended up in the master bedroom of that frat. So when you're living in a house with a bunch of frat dudes, you definitely want to make sure that you give a little before you sip anything. But one time I forgot. And where this story is going. It was dip spit. And it was gross. It was very, very gross. I kind of want to pull you guys on this. Because Zins is straight nicotine, right? And I mean, this is nicotine as well. And I would like to not vape, but I feel like because I get the 1.8% pods, there's barely anything in here. It's mostly just the mouthfeel and the ritual. And so I'm scared to use Zins and then create a bigger addiction to nicotine than I ever had for vaping. I don't know. I'll ask you guys. Let's see.
a sip of something that was in the wrong bottle,
Mhm.
but your brain saw the label,
Uh-huh.
and so it takes your body
Like a half a second.
to catch up to those don't match.
Uh-huh.
Those don't match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a story about that, but I probably shouldn't tell it.
Tell it. Tell a story.
Yeah, and
So
then
that one didn't work. It didn't work that way. You had to do it on your own.
it worked for a year. It worked for a year, but then, like
Year's a
as is in the doc, I'm at Cage's house, and I on the anniversary, on the 1 year, I find that beer in his fridge. I'm like, well, that's there for a reason. This caused us to celebrate. That's not an accident.
Yeah.
And just didn't even think twice.
Wow.
Just was like, finally, boom.
And now we're off to the races.
We're off to the races. Yeah.
Wow. How did you get sober this time?
I'd gotten off the drugs, gotten off the dope. But when I say dope, that's always coke, never heroin. I was never a heroin guy.
It's a cooler word, so I'm gonna call what I do dope, because some people will call weed dope, but like colloquially in the last 20 years, dope has meant heroin. But Charlie Sheen's gonna Charlie Sheen.
Always coke, never heroin. I was never a heroin guy.
Okay, so let's see. Bog said, I tried Zins to get off cigarettes. Now I Zin and cigs. Zin makes you want more cigs. If you don't use nicotine, don't Zin. If you do, expect a bigger bill. That's kind of what I was thinking. Because I don't think that it would really replace the satisfaction I get from having something in my hands. Like, I literally sleep with this thing in my hand. I never meant for that to be the case, but I sleep with this thing in my hand and I don't drop it. It's weird, but I like that thing. That's definitely what I don't want to do. If anything, I will stick with the vape. But that's the issue. And that's the worst you could do. Shout out to Morgoth's Hammer over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. We are hanging out with Charlie Sheen back on the scene.
It's always coke, never heroin. I was never heroin.
Hey, we got Craig in the building. Welcome. Vape 420. I don't really like the I much prefer just regular flower when it comes to weed. Like I have the weed vapes because they're mobile, and then like let's say I'll roll 3 joints for going to sleep. So if I I have the cart and right next to the the vape here if it's not in my hand. And if I smoke through all 3 joints, sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, or like not the middle of the night, but like 6, 7, 8 a.m. where it's like I'm going back to sleep. But if I just sit here, I'm going to be awake. My mind's going to start going. So I'll take a couple puffs of that. So I don't have to like get up and roll a whole thing or anything. But other than that, they're just, I also don't trust. I mean, when you say trust, what exactly do we mean trust? Because I don't necessarily think that they're going to like blow up in my face because I don't get shitty off-brand ones. But I do feel like for the amount of THC that's supposed to be in a whole thing, it just doesn't do the same thing. I don't know. Like I said, flower is better for you than vapes. They often contain chemicals that are bad. And again, that if you're getting it from reputable companies, that's not necessarily going to be the case. But again, the notion of heating something up and sucking it into your lungs is not ideal. But so like flower in a bowl with dabs on top. I have an emergency vape here. I haven't used in a year now. Yeah, same thing. And then I just prefer the joint with dabs inside, because with the bowl you got to light it every time. And if I'm trying to fall asleep, right? Let's say I'm laying down. I'm laid down, right? So I'm looking up at the TV, but for the most part, I want to just be able to, do that and fall asleep. So much that I want to. Often I'll drop the joint in the bed, but I pack them tight enough so that they don't just like burn out. See, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And if I had a bowl, then every time I would have to lean up and do that and that and that. And even though, of course, you need a carb on a bowl, but the way that I use my bowl is like kind of like a chillum. I plug I plug the carb so that I can just light it and pull. Seems to work out for me, but even with that, because it'll cherry better. But even still, it's just not as convenient as the joints, in my humble opinion. All right, well, let's actually get to this.
I don't know if the dope, but when I say dope, that's always coke, never heroin. Never a heroin guy. I'd been off that, geez, probably over 10 years, you know. And so, I mean, more than 10 years, like sitting here today. So I hadn't fucked around with any of that shit for a few years. And I just committed to drinking, you know, and then found that to be like the most unmanageable drug.
I was never more dysfunctional in society as an addict than when I was an alcoholic. Doing blues, doing coke, doing all this stuff, I was fine. But you add alcohol into the mix, and it is no bueno.
That I've ever tried to navigate.
Drinking.
You know, drinking.
More than cocaine.
Yeah, because there's never a time when you can't get it, you know. And when I had made the decision that I'm just going to drink, I treated it like I did drugs, you know.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But it's really kind of it's very accepted. And it's very socially ingrained, you know. It's like it's
normal.
It's always
I could never never be an addict of uppers. The only thing that, you know, when I had issues with coke is because I was drinking, and like one leads into the next. But I don't think I would even enjoy being on meth. And I'm pretty sure I've been on meth because of the fact that, you know, back before Molly and you had to get ecstasy pills, they were definitely pressed with meth in them. And that just this sentence scares me. Just this sentence. I love my sleep so very, very, very much.
It's very socially ingrained, you know. It's like it's
normal.
It's always Miller time.
Yeah, you want to smoke a joint in front of someone, they might be like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Yeah,
you want to have a drink in front of someone, completely normal.
Sure,
everyone does it.
Sure, yeah. But so I knew the way my body was starting to react and the way I was starting to feel, and just I couldn't feel it how I used to, even at like really like powerful doses, you know. I just couldn't, and that got depressing. That wasn't like I'll just drink twice as much now. That was like, damn, the thing I relied on is now just like told me, it's no,
you have too much of a tolerance now.
Our relationship is now different, you know? Yeah. And so there was a day, and it's in the book, and I
Yep. There's definitely sativa strains that will give you a little bit of a pep. Now, that is compared to other strains. I don't know, and so similarly to how Adderall will calm down somebody who has ADHD, there is a similar type of effect that can happen. Well, the reverse, that for most people, you smoke weed and it's a downer, but there are certain strains that the way that it hits you, you're still going to be high like a normal, you know, marijuana high, but your heart rate will go up. And I like those because some of the strains that are just like super, super heavy, you don't get to enjoy the high as much because you're high and then you just fall asleep, which is, you know, it's great sleep, but I miss the days of when I could have, you know, I could smoke a bowl and I'd be high for 3 hours, and it was, you know, this euphoric, giggly high. Like I haven't had that in years. And yes, I know you're going to tell me to take a tolerance break. Ain't gonna happen. I'm on my drinking arc right now. Oh goodness. I drink about the same all the time. I don't increase. I just stay steady. That is the key. It's a day. Yeah, that's the stuff I miss. But even that, like, if there's not a window where I can enjoy it the same way I used to. So like, if in the old days, you smoke this much, and you know you're giggling and watching movies and stuff, and you're good. You smoke this much of the same stuff and you're passed out because weed is weed. But now with that same stuff, if I smoke this, I'm just not going to feel anything. I'm not going to feel anything, not going to feel anything, not going to feel anything. And then I'm just going to be slumped. So it's nothing is worse with that. Nothing is worse than with that of the shrinking window than Xanax. Holy shit. Holy shit. The first time I took Xanax, I took a peach, which I believe is 0.25 milligrams, and out. Very soon, I would get to a place where I couldn't feel anything unless I was taking a full bar, which is 2 milligrams, which is a lot more than 0.25. And then it would get to a place where I had to take 1 in order to feel anything. But if I took like 1.5 or more, then I would black out. Crazy stuff. Crazy. Yep. Bars and beer. I was more bars and weed, but you know, you do what you do.
I was a morning drinker. I loved
rough on all of us.
Spiking my coffee. That's like, for me, it was like the best time to drink. I mean, you're not going to get shit done the rest of the day, but that's when I felt it. That's when I could still feel it was in the morning, So I'm on like my 3rd Macallan coffee or whatever. And my daughter, Sam, like calls she's at the house and calls and says, "Hey, what time are we leaving? Like to go where?" She had a hair appointment and it was a Sunday, I think, or a Saturday. And I've never, ever mixed the cups and the wheel, ever. I've never had a DUI. How about that?
That's awesome.
That's pretty good, right?
That's a good line to draw for yourself. Now, will you actually do it? Will you actually do it is the question. But that is I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now, but there was definitely milestones, for lack of a better term, or be like, okay, if this happens, then we gotta pull things back. Like, yeah, day drinking is okay, but if we put it into the coffee, and for a while that was the system that I had when I was still drinking coffee. I would just I would wake up, make my coffee, and not drink before I finished my coffee, and then I would drink for the rest of the day.
I've never had a DUI. How about that?
That's awesome.
That's pretty good, right?
That's very good.
I just decided like a long time ago, like when I was like 17, that
Very
was
smart.
never going to happen.
Good for you.
And I was living in a limo back then. There was, the occasional cab. But these days to get busted for drinking and driving with the available transportation that is literally 15 choices in your hand, there's no excuse.
Right.
Yeah. And I definitely have, gotten into my fair share of, drunk driving and, fucked up driving. And I am definitely not proud of that. It was bad, man. It was bad. There was one time when I was in college, but I went back to my hometown to hang out with my friends. About a 40-minute drive. Most of it just a straight shot on Route 1, but 40-minute drive. And I don't remember. Yeah. So anyway, so I was in my hometown getting fucked up, doing whatever. And I was like, I'm fine to drive. It's, Route 1, just stay in a straight line. You'll be fine. If you know anything about downers, whether it's opiates or benzos, your eyes stop working properly. And so it's not just that your eyelids get heavy and you're doing that thing, but your actual vision will start to like vibrate. And there's no way to, like, you can't grab your eyeballs and hold them. So you have to just like shake it off. And so you'll be, if this is, your normal focus, very quickly it'll start going like this. And, it can be bad, and it can be, that tunnel vision. Shout out to Matthew King. And it could, depending on how much you've done, it's not as bad as other times. And I misjudged how much that was happening because I couldn't go like 5 seconds without my vision doing that. And I'm driving. So I'm there every 5 seconds. It was bad. And I was like, okay, that can never, ever, ever, ever happen again. Dang is right.
And so I called Tony. I said, Tony, I can't drive. You got to help me get Sam to this thing. And so he was like, I'll be right. He was there in 20 minutes. We got her to the appointment. It went great. And there was a moment in the car driving back I describe it in the book, you know, and I could see her in two mirrors, the visor and the side view. And she was just kind of sitting back there. And I'm not saying that I know exactly what she was thinking, but I could feel what I'm pretty sure she was. And it was just.
He talks about this in the documentary as well, that, you know, she had his daughter has a hair appointment and he's scrambling because he's not going to drive drunk and he has to get his friend to drive. And, you know, this moment.
Thinking, but I could feel what I'm pretty sure she was. And it was just this thing about, you know, why it's cool that dad did this, but why isn't dad driving again?
Right.
You know, why is there always
disappointment?
Yeah. And it's not nothing but, oof.
Like I'm not a parent, and as much issues as I have with my own parents, they're not nearly issues like that. And to hear something like that was, oof, that hurt. You said, liked, and shared as usual. Thank you again. Again, guys, that stuff is free and easy and really, really, really does help out. Thank you so very, very much. Fox said, drunk driving is a horrible idea. Please don't do it. I respect him for that. But here's the other thing. Do you think that if he wasn't Charlie Sheen and he didn't have a driver, and he didn't have, you know, a Rolodex of friends who would be willing to do this, would he have driven? I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying, I don't know.
And
right,
you know, why is there always
disappointment?
Yeah, and it's not nothing with Tony. You know,
right.
He's been around forever, and you know, and it,
Claudia's asked, I said, I hope you didn't get into any bar fights. Since you have the structure integrity of a toothpick. Got one bar fight. It wasn't an exciting story. I was mouthing off, and a dude shoved me. Then I hit him, and he hit me, and everybody broke it up. That's the story. Matthew King said he would have either driven drunk or disappointed his daughter. Well, I mean, he did the second one anyway. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he would or wouldn't have, but I think it's a reasonable question.
Yeah, you know,
right.
He's been around forever, and you know, and it was, so we got back from that, and it was, there was something that I couldn't shake. It was something that stayed with me. Just the images of her, this little 13-year-old kid in the back seat, and her dad can't even take her to like just a basic. Just like up the highway to a hair appointment. Like that was complicated, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing? And then I just sat inside. I sat inside of that for a while because it didn't feel good. And I thought, okay, what can I do to stop feeling like this? The math is pretty simple at that point, you know?
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to do rehab. I wasn't going to do a big dramatic you know, life.
I had that typed out from the moment I said it. I was like, why? Shut your bitch ass up.
Turn around, or I was just going to make a decision and stick to it.
Mm-hmm. And,
you know, I took a few Valium, drank a few beers, and then the next day just woke up and said, I'm done, and didn't care. I made a decision. I wasn't going to care how I felt physically. I was just going to just
grit and bear it.
Yeah.
Based.
How long did it take?
And you get like, did I just do that? Please tell me I didn't do that. I thought I hit the bar. Anyway, what the fuck did you say?
Physically. Was just
I didn't care how I was gonna feel physically, because you get to a point where it's like the everything else in your life is so bad that if physical pain is the way to get out of this, well, all right. I mean, what's physical pain after all the shit that I've been doing to myself and that's happened to me?
Like just
grit and bear it.
Yeah.
How long did it take before you felt okay?
About 3 days. The story.
Lucky. If I could be clean in 3 days, and oh man, I would do it. Fucking kratom.
How long did it take before you felt okay?
About 3 days. The story I'd written that was going to be a month was just like that was fake. And so, and then it just coincidentally, it happened to be my oldest daughter, Cassandra's birthday when I quit. December 12th, you know, it was just like, okay.
Happy birthday. Right.
That's all aligned. And then something else happened after that, because everybody's going to get a little squirrely. Like, you put The problem with a guy like me is that, and people like me, is you're able to put things back together really quickly, right?
Right.
And kind of reassemble the pieces.
So you're not as scared.
Yup, and this is exactly what Trey was saying earlier about the ability to be functional. Some people got it, and some people don't. And the people who got it are more in danger, because if you don't got it, then very quickly you're going to lose your job. You're going to do something, and you're like, okay, well, obviously this isn't going to work. I mean, some people go down that road, but you know, if you're on the edge, but if you're somebody who's on the edge and you know you're sliding by, then you're much more likely to indulge. Box said, "Let me play the contrarian. My car, my choice. Driver's license. Psh, that plastic. Don't drive this Honda." I don't buy it, but thank you for playing. Thank you for playing. But so you already feel like shit. If there's an end of the tunnel, it's definitely doable. You just need to convince yourself the end is worth the difficulty. Working on it.
Go off the rails.
Right. And so then I got a call. This is the post, you know, already had HIV for several years at this point. I get a call that there's a new medicine, right? This is about a month after the Sam thing, right?
Ozempic? Oh, no, just kidding.
And they're like, look, we want you to try this thing because it's a much smaller cocktail. It's much less toxicity and no very few side effects. We think you're going to do great on it, right? They said, but you can't drink on it. The other one, you could drink your fucking face off. Like you could drink like a pirate on the other one.
Give me that one. Door number 2. I said, what even is America if you can't have a few beers while you cruise? Freedom. Well, that's how it used to be. Have you guys ever seen the interviews of when they first implemented the no drunk driving laws? Let's do a little side quest. So if we go back in time, interviews, let's say, interviews from people when drunk driving was banned. Let's try this. See, you can't drive anymore after you've been...
World in Action anticipated breathalyzer tests in Britain by 2 days. On Friday night, we took regulation breathalyzers supplied by the Home Office to the Green Dragon at Shenfield, a typical motorist pub in Essex.
Shout out to Green Dragon. Oh my God. Put a 1 in the chat. If you know what Green Dragon is, put a 2 in the chat. If you know and you've made it before.
Statistics show that in Britain last year, drink played a part in 13,000 fatal or serious accidents. Breathalyzer tests have been introduced in an effort to reduce that number.
I think it's very diabolical because it doesn't take any account, for example, of the pedestrian who's had too much to drink. He could cause an accident, but he doesn't get tested. It's the driver who gets tested, and I think that's unfair.
What do you think are your chances of getting away with it if you've had 1 over the 8?
Well, that's not 1 over the 8. 1 over the green crystal, perhaps. I think very good. I think because I will drive no differently than I do now, and it's never attracted police attention up to now.
I drive better when I'm drunk, bro. What you mean?
But the questions being asked about the tests are they accurate? Have the police the men and the means to enforce the law? And will they be effective as a deterrent?
Time, my lords, ladies, and the gentlemen, please.
Do you mind blowing into this bag before you drive?
Certainly not.
1 big blow. Pull it right up.
Technology.
Okay, let's have a look. How many drinks have you had tonight?
3 pints.
3 pints. Well, look, I'm afraid you're not sober anymore.
Oh.
Are you driving home tonight?
That was the point.
Well, on Monday night, that'll be illegal.
Well,
do you think you'll still drive home on Monday night?
Well, no, not if that's like it.
Well, 3 pints isn't much, is it?
It isn't very much, no.
But do you think you're still, perfectly capable of driving?
Quite capable, yes.
You don't sound very capable.
He said 3 points, so I think that was 0.03 if they are using the same measurement. But is this maybe this is what I was looking for from Box here?
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as
There you
downright
go. Thank you, Box. This is what we were looking for.
undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day.
Hell, you
and
what?
then get in your truck and at least rank 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt.
Goddamn
when you're
communist!
driving. Pretty soon we're going to be communist country. Communist country.
Bro, I fucking called it. I fucking called it. Wait, no, not that one. We'll do.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Just 'cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say? What
Feels good to call that.
Exactly what.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So people were not happy about it. People were not happy about it. And now Charlie Sheen, of all people, saying, don't drive drunk. Times they are changing.
Drink your fucking face off. You could drink like a pirate on the other one, which they shouldn't have told me that you can. You know? And so I said, okay, great. So I tried that one, and it was working great. But they said, okay, if you can just stay off the booze, it's going to keep working like it is, you know. So this other thing showed up in addition to that, just in concert with it. So now I had a couple things going on. You know, let's keep this thing, this evil stowaway is what I like to call it. Let's keep that thing in the, at bay, and let's rebuild every relationship that matters in your life, while you're still here.
Did you have a revelation after a while, after you were sober for a while, where you stop and think, like, why was I getting so fucked up? Like, what was I trying to?
Good question. Good question. Understanding why you feel the need to escape reality so hard is a very good thing to know about yourself. Guys, don't forget about the swole goal. We only got 2 out of 15. Let's at least make it 1/5 of the way there.
Stop and think, like, why was I getting so fucked up? Like, what was I trying to avoid, or what was I trying to enhance, or what was the purpose? Like, what bothered me so much that I couldn't be sober?
Interesting. Yeah. I think I think it was more avoid earlier, earlier in life, like avoid the pressures of fame, avoid the fears of commitment or relationship, or being exposed as a fucking fraud at some point, I think that was earlier. And I think enhance came later, that trying to just make situations just feel more exciting or cooler or more, sexier, or, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's interesting that you presented both sides of that, avoid, enhance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I relate to both,
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to tell people too, because everybody wants to hear the drugs. Like Bill Hicks had a great joke about nobody ever hears great drug stories.
Right.
You only hear the bad ones, and it is true.
I have some great drug stories. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like a mine said, cooperation is super important, though. If all resources are shared, then a society can maximize their potential, even if they just share a lot. I agree. Where is this coming from? It sounds like you're agreeing with the communist. No, I agree. Yeah, definitely cooperation. Hey, a shout out to Box feeding the Overlord. Thank you. Said Charlie Wussy Dorks. Charlie Wussy Dorks, like he don't get in Valhalla. What? I thank you very much for the $2. I have not a little tiny clue what that means. Charlie Wussy Dorks. Charlie, thank you, brother. Thank you. Out sponsoring yourself.
Right.
You only hear the bad ones, and it is true. But the reason why people do it is because it's fun. Like, it can ruin your life, but it's also really fun. That's why people do it.
Sure.
It's important for people to know, because you don't want them to think you're lying to them.
Shout out again to Box. We are 1/5 of the way there on Super Chats and 1/10 of the way there on total donations. Let's hit that goal.
And for them to hear you sober and happy and go, okay, that's possible. You can get there, because this guy is admitting what getting high was. Like there's a scene in the documentary where you're talking about the first time you smoked crack, where this girl's giving you a blowjob while you're smoking crack, and it was like the greatest feeling of all time.
Yeah.
I think that's important to say.
That hasn't been topped. I
missed what he said because I still don't know what you're saying, Box. I cut out all the fat. I can say it fluidly. Huh? Are you on crack right now? That would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. We're here to love and support you. Enjoy moderation. Well, hey. Matthew said, I wish I could figure out what I'm running from. My life is fucking awesome now, and I still can't get clean. Feel like I'm already too deep. I got sunk when I was in a couple shitty relationships. Lost all my self-worth with my first wife. She was abusive as hell. Next one wasn't any better, but I made it out and found a good one. Well, I mean, that's the first step, man. It's not necessarily about, just fixing all of the external things in your life. It's definitely also, internal. And, it's not easy, but trying to figure out what you're running from is the first step to being able to figure it out. So shout out to you. Like I mentioned, got to connect the dots there, Matthew, and find out why you do have what you do and modulate the inputs for a more natural alternative. I mean, yes, but that's kind of the obvious. And this is exactly what Joe is talking about when, obviously the solution to not knowing what you're running from is to figure out what you're running from. But that's not the level of completeness that these drugs can provide you is so comprehensive that it is difficult to see in the rest of the world, the rest of life, how it all works. When you spent so much time and it's just like, this is my happiness or this is my happiness, then trying to find that in other places, there are no easy fixes like that. And so part of it is coming to terms with the fact that, oh no, the drugs are like that because that's what they are. That's not real life. Life doesn't get to be like that. You might get little glimpses of that, but you don't get to just sit in euphoria in normal life. That's why people do drugs. Craig said, Scuzz Twitley has a song called I Want to Party Like Charlie Sheen. I said, shit, me too. Just once. Well, I mean, are we talking about the stories? Because, there's a lot of good stories of bad things happening. The worse the thing happens, the better the story is. That's what I'm talking about. I think the story of me driving home when I'm shit-faced to trying to explain the eye movement, not the best story in the world, but y'all wanted to hear it. Matthews, I've been looking for that answer for 30 years. I had a good upbringing, never abused, 2 loving parents, and a supportive family. I had it good and still ended up a junkie. And that is not an uncommon story. And so maybe you should come join the Discord and come talk to other people who have been through things like this and not in an AA format, or maybe AA is someone else that you want to do as well. But this is what community is for, guys. This is what community is for.
Didn't say that. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
That hasn't been topped.
Have you ever heard Hunter Biden talk about crack?
I haven't. No.
He was on that Channel 5 show, and he gives this ode to crack that made me want to immediately go smoke crack.
Seriously?
Yeah, because Hunter Biden's a very smart guy. I don't think people think of him that way because of the laptop thing, but he's very intelligent.
Right.
And very articulate. So when he's explaining the effects of crack and how different it is and how incredible it is and the euphoria of it, and it's he's literally saying that he's getting the itch while he's sitting there sober, working on his sobriety, trying to keep it together after all publicly shamed for being out of control. And
I can completely relate. And a frustrating aspect of that is when you are trying to be vulnerable and you are trying to explain to somebody who doesn't fully understand, and the only words that you can come up with is for doing, in my case, pills or heroin. The only thing, it's like a warm blanket in the inside of your body. Yeah, that doesn't really capture it. And that disconnect is part of the isolation that drives people further into addiction. Is that you kind of can't spend time with normal people because they don't live the same life as you. They don't experience the same things as you. And it's just, yeah, like that. Like we said, there's a reason people do them. There's a reason people do drugs. The DUI test is 70% just following instructions and being normal. Yep. Yeah. And like, but what does, like, we've all been hugged. That's not really what it is. But it's so far away from a something that we can articulate well that, again, it's isolating, because then the people who don't get it, and then you keep being you, and they still keep not getting it, and it drives a wedge. And then the only people that you can talk to are other people that understand the experience. Yeah, that's exactly it. For me, same exact thing. I never, again, I could never be a crackhead or method, but I was definitely a pillhead. And people would, a lot of the anti-drug rhetoric would be like, well, it's not going to fix your problems. You're just putting it off. It's like, yeah, can I just get a fucking break for a minute? I know everything's going to be waiting for me in 6 hours when this is done, but can I get 6 hours to just fucking chill, maybe? Hard to argue with that.
Together, right? After all, publicly shamed for being out of control and talking about crack like a lover that you lost in a drowning accident.
Wow.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I bet you do.
And Waco Mine, again, I please don't take this as anything except what I'm actually saying. Of course, less stress would create more happiness. Of course it would. That's the isolation aspect that I'm talking about. That if I'm trying to talk to somebody about, what Matthew's talking about, and somebody who doesn't understand through nothing that you did wrong, it's just an experience that you don't have. And you're giving these surface level things because you don't have an experiential understanding of how deep that is. It's frustrating. Because clearly you want to help. Clearly you are saying these things in good faith because you want Matthew's life to be better and all of our lives to be better. But when this is the same, I don't even want to bring it back to that. But if you and I were having this conversation, I was talking about how I wanted to get off of drugs and I'm experiencing stress and and this was the level of that you could engage with. Again, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that you don't have the enough negative experiences to be able to address this. And so I don't want to make you feel bad for trying to help. So then I just don't talk about it because I know that normal people don't have the experiential understanding to be able to give good advice. And so it's frustrating when you're dealing with something and somebody gives you advice in good faith, exactly as you are. I know you are trying to help. But, okay, fine, I will bring it there. When people will say to me, when I talk about God, I say, well, just open your heart and try. That's why I don't want to talk about that, because that is not helpful. And even though you are saying that in good faith, it's a frustration to me that I'm not being understood. And so why even bother? Because then we get further into it. And now if I'm arguing with your advice, well, that's not how you want to treat people who are trying to help you. But that's really the cycle. And that's how it becomes so isolating. Gonzac said, I really wonder if I started BJJ earlier that I wouldn't have went so hard into pot and Adderall. Having something that forces you to be way healthier and communal may replace the need for it. I would say probably. I found that even when I was working at the restaurant, just by virtue of having more things to do, as opposed to just, sitting and consuming podcasts and reading articles and stuff, and actually having something to do, I just needed less kratom throughout the day. So that's definitely a real thing. Shout out to DJ Hudgens. Welcome. Very good to see ya. Folks, have you ever been under anesthesia? You can kind of imagine. Kind of. I'll take the kind of. Keyword, kind of. As he said, the drugs themselves create more stress for you to run from. Bingo. It's a perpetual cycle of creating issues to hide from. I mean, goddamn. Keep fighting, brother. Keep fighting. Simple is always better. Definitely. I'm no expert, but it really seems like it bonds with high achieving community could help the most in staying away from addiction. I probably still would have smoked, but probably not so much. Well, and isn't there a big for athletics? I'll say, isn't there a big a common usage of weed within the BJJ community, as opposed to like a basketball team? Well,
Oh, Dad.
like a different, like a hockey team. You know what I mean? So thank you for taking that in the way that I meant it, because I can completely understand how it could seem like I'm just trying to fucking help. What are you getting on my ass about? Fine, I don't understand because I didn't fucking ruin my life by doing drugs. So thank you. Guantag said it was the boredom and listless nature of my friend group that may have had me dive so deep into being a pothead. Yeah. That and Daddy Dong never hung. That'll do it too. That will do it. All of that comes into the manifestation of doing drugs, even though you don't have a horrible life. You just want it to be a little bit better, and you either don't know or don't have the willingness to do the real shit that would actually make your life better. Buck said every instance of ADD medication I've come across was first pushed on people as kids with no say, and then the adults just sell it. That's big pharma for you. All right, guys, we are just past the 2-hour mark. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know where the fuck? I always miss it. You know how to do it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. That makes sense.
I bet you do.
There's a moment in the doc
where
I tell the Sandy story.
Yeah.
And I say, wow, that one actually got me kind of, I could feel that. Yeah.
That's
so that's like, you're not going to be like a super effective jiu-jitsu player if you're just stoned out of your mind. But, taking a couple puffs before you roll can definitely, help the creativity. And then the other side of that for you personally might have been that you might have been in, the group of BJJ players that did smoke, but because you all were doing BJJ, then you wouldn't have smoked as much. That's a whole other conversation.
The problem is
that's the problem. Yeah.
The problem is.
Did you? No, you don't have to. Did you ever try it or no?
No, I never even did coke.
Oh, you never? Oh,
nope.
Okay.
No, when I was in high school, I have a good buddy of mine, and his cousin was selling coke.
Okay.
And his cousin, who was super normal, I knew him forever, great guy, super cool guy. All of a sudden, he became weird and pale and lost all this weight. And it was like he got bit by a vampire. And him and his girlfriend were selling coke, and they would just watch TV and do coke.
Wow.
And
I had a roommate exactly like that. I will never forget the visual of coming home one day, and we had a kitchen table. Let's say the kitchen table is a circular table about that big. There was a pile of coke like that big. It was a mound of coke on the table. And because, you buy the coke and then you cut it before you sell it to other people so you can make more of a profit. And he would use baby laxative. And so there's just a giant pile of coke, a giant pile of baby laxative. And he would use the capsules like that you just get at like Vitamin Shop or whatever, instead of buying like baggies and stuff like that. He would just he would just scoop up, weigh it, and close the cap. And so you'd have like a dub, which would be like 0.2 or whatever in a capsule. You can just open it, crush it, whatever. And him and his girlfriend would just sit around all day. And again, they were my whole crew was more into downers and stuff, but certainly not against coke. And just all day, every day, sleeping until 4 p.m. and then just being up, selling throughout the night, and then rinse and repeat. I was kind of jealous for a little while. Shout out to JL. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you, sir. I am doing well. How about yourself? DJ said it was probably the abandonment from my father. Then that he died from his meth ticker. So no closure. Mother put me on Adderall, so I had my brain chemistry altered since 4th grade. But yeah, I'm about to smoke. There we go. We gotta manage ourselves because they certainly can't manage us. Now, didn't Charlie Sheen supposedly RP Corey Haim? I'm pretty sure I heard that at one point. That is the rumor. That is the rumor. And I don't remember exactly what was said. There's a very small piece of it in the documentary, but from what I understand, it was not that. It was something to do with Charlie, don't quote me on this, Charlie knowing something about something that happened to Corey, and then Charlie didn't actually really know what Corey thought. I don't know. It was a miscommunication at worst.
Him and his girlfriend were selling coke, and they would just watch TV and do coke.
Wow.
And they had like this attic apartment, and it was like he had gotten bit by a vampire. That's how it felt like to me. I was like, he just lost his whole life to coke. Wow. And then I saw some other kids that had coke problems around me where they were just dying to get coke. And I was like, this is a bad drug. And back then, I think it would.
Yep. And again, going back to the addictive privilege, that you have endless money and a big buffer between you and law enforcement. So, like, yeah, cool, but it's not the same thing as what we were doing.
Is actually coke. I don't even know.
At least like 80% of it. Yeah.
In the 1980s, I don't know if they were cutting it with anything, but I made a decision at one point in time in my life.
I would happily do, like, I would happily just grab some coke from wherever and every once in a while and just like sit at home, just chop it up, watch TV, just like the guy was saying. But you never know. Yeah. So the new documentary that just came out addresses it. It didn't go very deep into it, so I don't know. But Charlie was in the documentary, so I don't know how hard they were going to go on stuff like that. He's a purple belt now. Don't fuck with him.
They're cutting it with anything, but I made a decision at one point in time in my life. No, I don't want to have nothing to do with that one. That one seems to rob people's lives.
Wow, you just stuck to that,
and we still did it anyway. I remember when I was in that frat house, we had the good coke, and then P, the dealer P. It was the worst coke, but whenever we couldn't find the good stuff, like, yo, hit up P, get some fucking bullshit. And it was like, burn. Oh, man. Why? Why did we do that? And I think, you said by the time I got to you, stepped on enough to piss you off. I think that's just the cocaine. I think even pure cocaine is just the experience of wanting more cocaine. I'm biased as somebody who doesn't really like coke, but I've never felt anything from coke except the desire to do more coke and like too much coffee.
I don't want to have nothing to do with that one. That one seems to rob people's lives.
I hated the feeling of coke.
Yeah, it just seemed to me like that one can make you a loser.
And then did you roll in circles over the years where it was prevalent?
I knew some people that did coke, and it never worked out well. I didn't know anybody who did coke who like kept their life together. Everybody who did coke was like barely together, barely hanging on, always off the rails.
I think there's like one guy
out there, some superhero who keeps it together.
Charlie Sheen, that's the guy
that maintained it all those years. Was Jack Nicholson?
Oh yeah,
shout out to Jack.
The only guy,
right?
Do we know of anybody else?
Well, they might not be public about it,
right?
But
what about the rumors that Jack always traveled with like a doctor? Have you ever heard this shit? Have you heard these stories?
No.
Oh yeah, he had a doctor that carried.
What happened?
Well, they might not be public about it.
Right.
But
what about the rumors that Jack always traveled with like a doctor?
Like a Michael Jackson doctor. Except one that didn't kill him.
Have you ever heard this shit? Have Have you heard these stories?
No.
No. Oh yeah, that he had a doctor that carried his coke or distributed.
That's amazing.
And only gave him just what he needed.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean,
that's a movie star shit right there.
Exactly.
You get a doctor with a fucking leather satchel to carry your coke around.
Yeah, and he's just close.
I'd make him wear a stethoscope everywhere you go, bro.
Has to.
You need to have a stethoscope on. Everybody's
Really? Yeah, well, exactly. So this is what I was talking about when somebody brought up the strains of weed that could be seen as an upper in certain effects or certain circumstances. It depends on the brain chemistry, but that would very likely, or not very likely, but that points to the same effect as kids who are rambunctious. They call it ADHD, but again, conversation for another day. The same Adderall that we would do in college as a party drug instead of Coke because it was cheaper and last longer. These people needed it to be able to focus. That might be a something to look into, and talk to a doctor about how, like, hey, I'm doing all this. I don't want to do all of this, but here's a big sign that there are some actual issues here to deal with. That meaning issues that a doctor is going to be able to help you with. Whether that is whether that's other drugs, or that is just sitting down and having talk therapy and getting to the root of some shit that happened that maybe you blocked out, or I don't know. But that's a good starting spot.
I'd make him wear a stethoscope everywhere you go, bro.
Has to.
You need to have a stethoscope on. Everybody's got to know you're legit.
Yeah, but that's one of the great 80s rumors about
That's
Jack.
funny. I never heard that
there
rumor.
was some guy.
An eighth of what? Of Coke? Eighth of Coke medicinally over 3 weeks. And once completely out, I felt like I was dying with the flu for 3 days. That was one of the last times I ever touched the crap. Yep. Well, lucky for you and Charlie Sheen, it was just 3 days. If I knew that switching from the pills to either the Suboxone or the Kratom would extend that withdrawal period, I never would have done it. I was off of everything. And I would still mess around, but in terms of addiction, in terms of every day, I was off of everything. And then I got back into it because I had a roommate who had Suboxone, and it was way cheaper than the actual pills. And I didn't know that the withdrawal was different. And once you take it, then you're fucked. Once you take it for a couple of days, you're fucked. What do you mean, what's the topic? Everything that we're talking about. Charlie Sheen, drugs, all that stuff. You ever done drugs? Drugs are good, okay?
One of the great 80s rumors about Jack.
Funny.
Was
I never heard that
there
rumor.
was some guy.
That makes sense.
But then you'd be around Jack. I was only around him a few times, but then he was cool as hell. And you're always kind of looking all right, who's the bag man? Who's his guy?
Right.
Where is he? Or who's the bag man for that night?
Yeah.
Was it a team of doctors that rotated?
Dangerfield party till the end. He
did.
He kept that trader rolling.
No respect at all.
Yeah. We lived in the same building for a while.
You in Dangerfield?
Yeah.
No way.
It's that building in the book called the Wilshire on Wilshire.
God
damn.
damn.
Wow.
I maybe saw him twice.
The crazy shit that must have happened in that building. God,
I got in the
damn.
elevator with him one time. And we'd seen each other out, but never really had an elevator moment, And he goes, "Hey, kid, how you doing? You look great." And he's like, he goes, "Hey, what?" He goes,
Look at that.
Yeah,
Look, you guys together with Kinnison.
Yeah.
Wow.
But in the elevator,
look at Rod. He looks funny just in his photo.
Just in the
Jesus fucking Christ. So I don't know if anybody saw, but I did ask if anybody wanted to watch Inglourious Bastards instead of the after party, and the only response I got was from Marcus saying, "I actively avoid Jewish propaganda. Thank you." These people's minds are fucked. Marcus, you're woke as fuck, dude. It's so scary. The same way the woke left is just obsessed with racism. Yeah, there's Jews in it. It's about World War II. What? Unless you're trying to say, Marcus, that the Nazis were the good guys.
Look at Rod. He looks funny just in his photo.
Just in
the photo, you start laughing.
Doing nothing.
He was so good, dude.
I can't tell you what happened that night. I don't know where we were, but it looks like the jacket is definitely like circa 89, 90. That looks like a backstage something that's on my jacket, right? Yeah.
Probably at a Poison concert or something.
Yep. We're in the same boat. I said I was clean for a couple months, but still having cravings, so I jumped into Suboxone. It worked too well. Now I'm scared to death to come off it. I heard it's miserable for weeks, and that's what I heard too. I just stopped doing that and went to the Kratom because it's way more functional. So you're the way that you can still get a high from the Suboxone, you with the Kratom, you can have I don't know if you want to call it a smaller dose, but the experience of it, how do I explain this? With Suboxone, let's say this is your operating when you're operating when you're sober, and let's say this is your emotions. So you take the Suboxone, and your functionality goes down to here, and your feeling goes up to here. Versus, again, this is sober with Kratom, the functionality, it only goes down that much, and the high goes up that much. So you're able to stave off the withdrawals without walking around being fucked up all the time. But it's the same kind of shit where weeks like for both of us, it's gonna take a fucking detox program. Like I don't have tiger butt. I'm not fucking white knuckling 3 weeks of restless legs, hot cold sweats, fucking all that shit. No, thank you. Context said, even I watched Captain Fantastic. The main character is raising 5 kids as a devout communist. Oh no! Right, as every rose as it's done. I mean, it's a great movie. It's just weird to be like, oh, I'm not gonna watch that because the Jews are the good guys. Okay. I wasn't really talking to him anyway, but whatever. Yeah, and so I got to the point where literally, I was taking the 8 milligram strips, and I would take about that much, like about the size of an acid tab. I would take that much every other day. So this is like what, maybe 1/4 milligram every other day. I'd gone down, I was taking more before that, but I tried to wean off. And so I was weaning off. And I got all the way down to the little corner. And I would still get sick. So Matthew, do you have a script for it? Because that's the only other thing is I'm not saying no, but I'm also not incriminating myself on the internet. Okay, so that's the thing with me, because I didn't have a script for it. Then I'm dealing with everything else. But I mean, I would say that for like for your organs, like your liver and stuff, it might be worth looking into, or especially talking to your doctor about the trade-offs with Kratom and Suboxone. Like, obviously, if you're not doing any of this stuff, don't fucking touch Kratom. Don't fucking touch it. Especially that 708 shit. Do not fucking touch it. But if you're already down this road, this could be a way to be functional. Because I even still, there's times when I will get a little bit of I'll call it a buzz from the Kratom. And it's in the, like a little bit of a nod. The eyelids get heavy, that whole thing. But it's way lower. And again, you have to take a much higher dose in order to do that. And so when you're when you're not experiencing that those effects, even if it's just enough, the lesser effects that you can feel while also not getting sick, in my personal humble opinion, not as a doctor or giving you any specific advice, I think it's a better way to go for me personally. Context. So this reminds me that I'm long overdue for a talk with the universe, aka a hero dose of mushrooms. I'm honestly a little scared at this point, but all the more reason to do it. Bingo. Yo. You and me, bro. You and me. Hero dose. Maybe not live on YouTube, but we'll in the Discord. We'll be tripping together, bro. That'll be fun. Definitely legalize shrooms. All right. Poison
thing that's on my jacket, right? Yeah.
Probably at a Poison concert or something.
Perhaps. So we're in the elevator. He says, "Hey, kid, what are you Puerto Rican, right?" And I said, "No, I'm Spanish Irish." And he says, "You don't know whether to start a parade or start a war." And it's like, doors open and he just walks out. He just had that on standby or built it in the moment.
He probably built it in the moment.
Yeah. And I was just like, so I can't really ever describe my heritage without hearing his voice, start a parade or start a war.
That's funny.
And I'm just like, wow, just left me with that gold,
I'm saying we can hit up the Discord, trip together. I am down for that. Crags and mushrooms are legal out here in Colorado. You can buy it at the store. Well, I'm pretty sure that if I were to have shrooms in my house, theoretically, that they probably would be purchased from somewhere like that. I don't know how. Well, I don't really know. I know that's not how words work. I don't know too much about the process of growing them, but I do know that it could, given certain circumstances and environmental factors, it could be very easy and happen on its own. But whoa, honey, sweetie, baby, why? Shrooms are fun. Acid is an experience. I would never, ever be able to say will I do acid again? Probably, but I don't know. To be able to say I will never touch it again, that's like, why would I want to live? So let's do a poll. Which do you prefer? And that is true. It is natural. Too wavy, not enough visions. What? Yeah, fair enough. Okay, hold on. So we'll do. Okay, well, let me not get another strike on this. So we'll do that. Only done one, or I've never done either. Sorry, I should have played the video while I was doing this. I apologize, but yeah. Hey, shout out to Box with the $5, keeping the party raging. Said, what legal pharmaceuticals do you think Charlie is on right now? I'm not the right person to ask about that. I don't know how. No idea. Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I mean, I guess I've never really gotten good visuals from shrooms. I've got the walls breathing, I've got colors trailing and stuff, but like I just it's like the difference between weed and shrooms. It's like, okay, there's some level of it's a similar type of thing, but it's not the same thing. So it's, for me, it's like like sober, weed, shrooms, acid. I've never done anything harder than acid in the psychedelics, but I don't assume it goes up there. But I want to do TMD so bad, and it's because of the emotional aspect. I don't get that emotional aspect when I'm on shrooms. It's just the funny feelings, and you get the tingles, and you get some funny colors, but it's just that. Whereas when I do acid, it's a deep experience. that makes me confront the things that I've been hiding, and it's just a much deeper experience for me. Don't we all? Don't we all? All right, let's dive back in. Yeah,
They're starting a war.
That's funny.
I'm just like, wow, just left me with that gold, you know.
We have his handwritten notes
It's
at our
tied.
comedy club in the
Oh, you
green room.
do? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
for one of his Tonight Show appearances. So we have his handwritten notes framed, all the stuff he's going to talk about.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And would he stick to?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like his jokes, and he had like the punchlines, like accented bold letters.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, he wrote it all out
Wow.
darker.
So
Yeah.
he was like super organized.
Yeah,
about it.
super organized.
Damn.
Well, he stopped doing stand-up for a long time, and he was selling aluminum siding. And then
So shout out again to Box, keeping the party raging. Guys, one more, and we are 1/3 of the way there. And we, in terms of donations, we are 1/5 of the way there. We can do this, guys. Teamwork makes the dream work.
he made it again when he was much older in life. He came back, and
Wow.
the thing that happened was from the time he stopped doing stand-up to when he went back to having a regular job, he never stopped writing jokes. Like his brain just worked that way. So he was just always writing jokes. So when he
was
came
sitting
back,
on a treasure trove.
yeah,
Wow.
yes, and he just fucking stormed the gates. When he came back, everybody's
Wow.
like, "Where's this guy been?"
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he became huge. Back to School and the Rodney Dangerfield HBO comedy
No
specials.
respect at all.
That's
Yeah.
epic. Yeah.
Oh, he's one of the all-time.
So he
greats.
came back as, doing stand up.
I think he was in his 40s. Yeah.
Got some heat again,
Uh-huh.
and that activated the films.
Yeah, well, the stand-up, he didn't have any heat before, but when he quit, he was just like kind of like getting by, doing all right, and got a job. Quit.
Wow.
I think he might have quit for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the whole time
He's got such a Owen Wilson. Wow.
he's writing, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I got to do this," and then got back into comedy.
Wow.
I hope I'm not fucking that story up, but I think I'm accurate with that. See if you can find it. Make sure that's true. I'm 90% sure that's true, but I know that he didn't make it until he was in his 40s. And
Oh yeah, super quick side quest. I wanted to ask you guys about when I had Gabriel on here, and I would pull up comments, and like we're watching something. So when I'm watching something, I'm looking at my own screen, or I'm looking at me on my monitor, whereas the camera's up here. When so like if I'm talking, we're watching something, and or I'm talking to the other person, and then I pull up a chat and I look directly into the camera and give you a little look, you guys know that that's me like saying I agree with you without trying to interrupt the conversation, right? You didn't know, now you know.
I told this the other day, but I'll tell it again. I used to work at Great Woods Center for the Performing Arts in Mansfield, Massachusetts. I was a security guy there.
Okay.
And I was backstage, or by the outside of the backstage, and Rodney Dangerfield would go on stage completely naked with a bathrobe on. That's what he would wear. And he was wearing a bathrobe backstage with slippers and just walking around. I was like, this guy's wild.
Wow.
And they're like, he goes on stage like that. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Was it partially closed at least, or it was just wide
Yeah,
open?
it was closed.
Oh, okay.
He didn't let everybody see his dick.
Got
but
it,
if you went in
got
the green room, you were seeing his dick.
Because
He
he's
was
sitting down.
He'd just sit there. His dick
Wow.
would be hanging out.
Okay.
He didn't care. He struggled financially for 9 years, 1.4.
All right, guys, let's see. Apparently, Box is tripping his balls off and thinks that this photo is purple. Box, there's no purple in this entire photo. But I'm glad you're having a good time.
Performing as a singing waiter until he was fired before taking a job selling aluminum siding in the mid-50s to support his wife and family. He later quit. So in the 1960s, he started reviving his career.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So somewhere close to 10 years. Still working as a salesman by day. He returned to the stage performing at hotels in the Catskills Mountains, but still finding minimal success.
Nothing?
He fell into debt, about $20,000 by his own estimate, couldn't get booked. Dangerfield came to realize what he lacked was an image, a well-defined on-stage persona.
Shout out to Hidden Noses. I was waiting to see if anybody's going to play along and be like, yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? You tripping balls, Box. 3 tabs. Good for you. Shout out to Hidden Gnosis. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I was just fucking with you. That's a fun one. You never, I hate the person, especially the one who's never done any psychedelics, so it doesn't have an understanding of like what's a cool fuck with you because you're tripping, and what's like that's not cool at all, and then they try to fuck with you. That's something that's not cool at all. Yeah, that's fucked up. I remember, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it should be on a playlist. Box, you are going to fucking love this. There was, okay. What did I call that playlist? Give me a second, yeah. I called it Trip. All right, Box, I want I want you to tell me. I don't think we get away with the music, but let's just go. I'm gonna mute and unmute. What I want from you, Box, is this a video or a picture? Is this a video or a picture? Nobody say anything. Nobody say anything. Is this a picture or is this... Whenever you got a guess, Box, let me know. Picture or video?
Regards to our accurate processing of external reality. Through reason what can be called global.
Picture or video, Box? Which one do you think it is? Nope. I mean, technically it's a video, but this is not moving at all. There is nothing in this frame that is moving. Trip me the fuck out, which is why I saved it. And the music is awesome. Here, I'll have yourself a nice fun hour with that, Box. You are welcome.
Dangerfield came to realize what he lacked was an image, well-defined on-stage persona that the audience could relate to, one that would distinguish him from other comics.
I meant, was it moving or was it static?
Being shunned by some premier comedy venues, he returned home where he began developing a character for whom nothing goes right. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh, look at this. During Roy's comeback bid, who's Roy?
When he was 19, he was Jack Roy.
Oh,
you know what? Since we are kind of all over the place today, I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up and chat and talk about drugs or Charlie Sheen or life or anything else. Come on up. Let's hang out.
Dangerfield.
Oh,
people recognize
wow.
I want to use that checking in hotels from now on.
Wanting to distinguish himself from longtime patrons who might have remembered him from the 1940s, Roy asked club owner George McFadden to change his name. He came up with Rodney Dangerfield. Wow, he didn't want people to remember him as Jack Roy from back in the day. He didn't like his...
I will say that bathroom is not ideal. If you're looking for the if you're looking for a ceiling fan, look for one that is not in the bathroom, because bathrooms have mirrors. Bathrooms also have toilets, and your perception is fucked. So if you didn't know, now you know. The first time you trip, when you're gonna think that your dick is super tiny when you go to pee. Yeah. I just stay away from the mirror. Stay away from the mirror. Hey, I as long as you're not saying anything that you're not supposed to say. We're hanging out. We're breaking we're breaking away from the heaviness of constantly talking about Charlie Kirk, but we're still there. So like not much else is happening to really talk about. So you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome, sir.
His old act.
Wow.
He said, I don't know where it came from. McFadden may have taken it from the Jack Benny program on NBC Radio, which first used Rodney Dangerfield as a character's name in 1941. Ricky Nelson also used the pseudonym in a 1962 episode of The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Wow. That's crazy.
That television show, 1967.
Wow.
And Sid wins. The Sid wins 50%. 50% for the Sid, and only 25% for the Boomers, with another 24% of people who have not done both. Acid wins.
That's when he popped again.
That's amazing.
That's nuts.
Wow. Go get him.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't know whether to start a prayer or start a war.
He was a fun guy. I knew a lot of people who knew him. I didn't get a chance to meet him. I saw him once at the Laugh Factor. I ran into him. I said hi, but that was it. I never really got a chance to talk to him.
So you did have a
Hey, shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party, sir. What you got going on? Wait. Before you go, before you start, hold on. I got you. Gotcha. Hold on. Before we start anything, and we'll invite Hypnosis or Dylan today for this one. Congratulations, my friend, on that purple belt.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
I know that could not have been easy.
Definitely not.
So what you got for us?
Not much. First of all, I gotta say, Dylan, you son of a bitch.
What?
You don't know that reference?
No, I just got here. Huh?
The Predator? The movie?
I know the Predator. It went over my head though. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a little young, man. I'm only 30.
It's at the beginning of Predator. It's what Arnold says to his boy.
Oh, there we go. Well, yeah, what I'm throwing it to you guys. What you got? What we talking about? Drugs, Charlie Sheen, redemption, anything. Throw it out there.
I mean, I was actually, had me thinking a little bit about a conversation that we had probably like 6 months ago with a certain woman that shall not be named right now, but we were talking about like being able to introduce your own children, if need be, to certain substances, and whether or not it would actually be a good idea to be able to do it with hallucinogens. Because obviously, you know, people smoke pot or will drink a little bit with their kids every once in a while. And
by kids, we're talking teenagers, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying like.
I just want to clarify that, like, different.
No,
subject.
like your own kids. And whether or not that would actually be a good idea to do, rather than leaving it up to them, doing it with their peers and not necessarily being in the safest place possible when they do it. In a more controlled environment, it's more, you know, you're the person who has more experience with it, so you might be able to walk them through it a little better, and you can also control it in the fact of having somebody who wouldn't be in that situation, being able to control the situation a lot more.
What the hell was that? Yeah, sorry, Box. It's saying you don't have a mic or anything. So connect and you're good. Sorry, one second. Yeah.
I agree with you going to. So I haven't done no hallucinogens or nothing, but my brother did acid, and we did not do it in a controlled environment. Was not a great decision. So like it would have been better, you know, we had somebody responsible around when because he did it. I was thinking about doing it, and I wanted to see how he reacted, and I was like, oh fuck that, because he tripped balls.
Well, yeah,
I even also think of it as kind of almost like I guess like a coming of age sort of thing as well, you know, that there can be a lot of lessons that are learned in it. One of which being there's another experience to this thing we call life, outside of just your sober brain, right? So if you can handle that, you can also handle a lot of other things, but you have to be trained in it.
And then that's, you know, doing this stuff well is a skill, and like the aspect of having somebody there who is you know, knows what they're doing and can watch over you, and not because you're gonna, you know, jump out of a window like the age-old story, but just because you can get into that bad mindset, you can get into a trip. And so I always suggest for your first time, you either want to be at somewhere like a concert where there's we got Box. Hey, shout out to Box.
Hey guys,
welcome.
So
welcome.
I was trying to find an image to put in this fucking shitty ass profile, and I need a camera, but everything else is fine. I hope you're all well.
We are doing very well. Probably not as well as you, but tell me if you agree that your first trip should either always be with always be somewhere safe, like at your home. Is this better? Yeah, that's better. At home where you can control all the variables, or something like a concert where like it's geared towards having that stimulation, as opposed to like just going out a night on the town for your first.
Like imagine you're 11 years old. Honestly, anywhere other than a car. Just please don't get behind a wheel and drive while you're doing all that shit. So the first time I did that shit, I was in the woods. Like I was younger, had a bunch of friends. We all just went to the woods and climbed trees and shit. Was it dangerous? Yeah, kind of. But we weren't driving cars, you know? So, I mean, there's that whole level, you know, like the idea that you do it with more than just yourself kind of to begin with, and then that you're not like just driving cars at the very least.
Yeah. I mean,
Salvia too. Like the first time I did salvia, like the dude at the smoke shop was like, "Please don't do this while you're driving down the road." And I didn't. And the first time I did salvia, I poured myself outside my car door. Like I barely clawed onto the car door. I poured myself. I was drooling all over the ground. I couldn't fucking move. I literally poured myself out of my car.
No.
I was in park. It was
that's
were out, but
when I was
like, oh, thank God.
When I was first getting introduced to like Vine and shit, maybe before Vine, there was a salvia video where this dude just fucking lost his mind. It was pretty viral. He was sitting on a couch and he just started screaming.
I don't have a specific memory.
People were falling out of windows and shit.
Yeah, he's like just sitting there. I remember it was like the first time I'd ever heard of salvia. He's just sitting there. He hit it and he sat there for like a minute or two and like looked like he's falling asleep. And then he goes, "Ah!" He just screamed as loud as he fucking could.
That was
like,
smoke shop shit.
I miss salvia. I miss salvia. But I mean, I'll say this: the first time my first time doing acid, I was with a bunch of people, and it was me and one other friend that were doing acid. And it was in a group of 5. So it was just me and him tripping, and so we had our other friends there as like guides. And we actually, we live in Jersey, so we ended up going down to the boardwalk, about 35-40 minute drive. So we take the tabs. It starts to kick in. We go walk around and like looking at the trees and stuff and and they're like, all right, let's go to the beach. So I made sure to get shotgun because I don't want to be stuck in the backseat. We're in it was a Honda Civic, I remember, and had a nice wide windshield. And I just put my seat all the way back and looked up like that. And I could see like the clouds. And instead of it, the perception, it didn't seem like this cloud was here and that cloud was further. It seemed like they were at the same spot, but this cloud was bigger and they were moving and like, turning into different things. That was fucking awesome. And then we get to the boardwalk just as the sun is going down. So all the lights from the boardwalk are starting to turn on. And that is, I couldn't think of a better experience. But if I didn't have people there, I definitely would have freaked out. Shout out to Gruck Thunder over on Rumble. Said, I love Charlie. Who doesn't? Welcome to the party. But
yeah, I mean, part of the reason also that I think that it would be so beneficial is that like you would be able to set your kids up with like understanding being in that mind space without having to be in the situations that could get them into trouble in the first place. I don't know if anybody's ever been in the situation where it's a really crazy trip and like you're in a completely different location that you're not really used to. And yeah, a lot of times you just don't even know what to do, Yep. And this is why a lot of people have a lot of bad trips. Like, first of all, they don't even go into it understanding like the actual change that's going to happen in your mindset, let alone all the other things that come along with it. So I just think like having that control, having the experience to like get a baseline,
Yes.
for them to be like, just make sure that they're able to like handle it from that point.
I agree what you're saying there, but the problem you said it is like the idea is that you're going to get in trouble if you get caught for this, and it could be serious trouble. It could be life-altering trouble, like legally, right? You get hit with a 10 strip of acid, your life is going to drastically change. You'll never be able to vote in some states. You'll never be able to own a gun in some states. A whole bunch of things are going to apply after that. And I think that that's actually more harmful than kids trying acid for a few times with their friends. Bad trip or good trip. I've had both. It's been both sides of that fence for me. And it's like the most dangerous part of all of it, aside from like if we would have hopped behind the wheel of the car, would have been the police. That's a problem.
Yeah, and that's also why I like just being at home. I know I can, there's no variables. I set everything up. I got my snacks. I got my protein shake because you can't eat shit when you're tripping, but you're going to get hungry. So, I've got all that. I've got 17 joints rolled so that I could just go through. Got a full new vape pod. All that stuff is set.
We got a prepper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you do that, it does kind of spoil you. In the sense that I am a little bit scared to like be tripping out in the world, because the last like 4 or 5 times I've just been in my own home, like either on my couch with my best friend or just in my room by myself. But I always say, so the first time I tripped, when we went to the beach and all that, I was saying everybody should try this at least once. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. You might be scared for a little bit and then you're fine. Everybody should do this. After the second time, actually, let's tell a little story time. We call it the funny farm. This is something you should not do. So I told you guys about how I lived in that frat house, and you never really want to trip hard with more than like 3 or 4 people. There was 15 people in that house.
Oh, the house is the most terrifying part. The house, oh my God, are you kidding me?
So everybody I was the most quote unquote sober by only taking 1 tab of acid and nothing else. Everybody else took at least 2 tabs and a tab of ecstasy, and some people were also doing coke. And so this is what got me to start to appreciate the bad trips. So, it comes on, and if you're not familiar, you get really giggly, and you get your stupefied phase where it's just like, oh, look at that. That looks funny. Oh, yeah, that. And then, 3-4 hours or so into it, you hit the peak, and then you start going, it starts quote fading. Is not really the right word, but you just go into a different phase where it's more like intellectual. It's like, oh my God, dude, I get the whole world. I can see my life, and like all that stuff. And so depending on how much you take, it's going to be a different trajectory. And so I'm on 1 tap. So I get to my stupefied phase, and I'm into the intellectual phase. Well, everybody else, it's come from this side. Everybody else is still going and going higher and higher and higher. So I'm down here. Everybody else is up here. I ran to the basement, and I was terrified. I had to call my friend from home and be like, dude, I don't know. And this was like a month after I moved into the house. So most of the people I didn't know, and the ones that I did, I only knew for a few weeks. And I had to call my friend and be like, I think they might be robots. I don't know if I'm on Earth anymore. And he's like, bro, you did drugs. You're on drugs. Shut the fuck up and go enjoy your drugs. Go upstairs and dance. Like, bro, I don't know. Shut up. Go upstairs, find some music, and dance. And so I did that. And we turned, we call it the funny farm, because each room had a different type of music playing, different lighting setup. Some people were smoking, some people were doing coke, and it was amazing. But you just, you go into a different room and the whole vibe changes. And that experience of overcoming the darkest fear that I've ever had in my life was super empowering. It's just like, oh, okay, I can just do this. And so then when you don't have a bad trip and you're just having fun, it's like, all right, well, show me some of that shit. Like, dig back in there and show me some fucking scary shit, because this is the only time I'm going to be able to deal with it. I ask for the bad trips.
The other strange thing about like big community tripping like that as well is that there is a very it's a communal trip, so everybody is almost on the same wavelength the entire time, and you get very sheepy, right? People become very sheepy. So for instance, I'll tell a story. When we were doing it, there was probably about 12 people in the house, and everything was going great. Everybody was having a good time, kind of doing the same thing you were talking about. And all of a sudden, one of my friends just stands up and goes, "Holy shit, where's Naz?" One of the girls that was tripping with us. And all of a sudden, everything switched on a dime. And everybody's freaked out because they didn't know where Naz went. Eventually, somebody walks out. They find her. She was just walking around the neighborhood, having a good time, being chilled out and stuff, not doing anything crazy. But I just really noticed at that time where I was just like, oh my God, like we got to have a good handle on this. Otherwise everybody could just like go freaking crazy.
Right.
So
And
you almost have to take like a control aspect at that point. Otherwise it can easily turn into a really bad thing for every person.
Yep. And so, Dylan, I want to come back to your saying how you saw what happened to your brother, and you're saying you're never doing it. And I would never, like want to pressure somebody to do something they don't want to do. This, just a conversation. But after that second trip I just told you about, remember the first trip I was like, everybody should try this once. After the second trip, I was convinced you have not really experienced what being alive is without some type of psychedelic. Without that, your sober mind can see through a almost like a keyhole. But then you take some of these substances, even MDMA counts, and it just blows your perspective so wide open that even if you're scared, even if you're freaking out for a little bit, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And that spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah,
is that?
I've got opinions on it. I'm not against it, and I'm not scared. My thing is, that night I was scared. After I watched, dude, he stayed up all night. I mean, we were hammered drunk when he did it too. Like he did it like 1 a.m. and we were all like getting ready for bed. We were fucking hammered. And then he was like, let's do some acid. He did it, and then like he was up all night. It was pouring rain the next morning. I got up first, and I was like, where's Kate? And I'm like looking around the house, and I walked outside, and he's sitting on a freaking rock and swing in the pouring rain. And he's like, man, I can't be in that house no more. He's like, I had to get outside. He was like, he could not. It was the weirdest thing, dude. But no, I'm not against it. I've done some Molly before. That was like my favorite drug I've ever done. Yeah. I'm just not super experienced with drugs. I wouldn't even know how to buy them if I had to. I couldn't buy you weed if I had to.
Yeah, these days I wouldn't know where to get it either. But
if
I can find it.
If people have it, like I'm typically down to try whatever. Like I said, the acid's like the one few times I was like, yeah, I'm out of here.
And fair enough. Everybody has to determine what is appropriate for themselves. But my bottom line is, like I said, MDMA counts. So if you're doing, if you've done Molly, you've had that small perspective opened and widened, and just the experience. It's not so much the experience of what you see and do when your perspective.
It's like how you feel it.
Yeah,
you feel some type of way. Like I felt like I was like, I don't even know how to describe the feeling. It's undescribable when I did Molly. I ain't tripped, and I've thought about doing ayahuasca. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts where people are advocating for that. Pretty sure you can do it legally, like in Orlando.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, because it's only a couple hours from where I live, and I remember looking it up. It's like in a controlled environment or some shit.
What about DMT? That is the number one thing on my list. If I could do...
Isn't DMT just shrooms? Isn't the same thing, or am I wrong?
I think it's similar, but it's a much more condensed thing. So like a DMT trip is going to be like a 15-20 minute thing. So what is Wake of Mind saying? The book called The Psychedelic Gospel talks about mushrooms represented in the Bible and in the cathedrals in Europe. Oh yeah, you could look at Christian art throughout history, and you see a lot of shroom stuff. But yeah, I mean, whether it's DMT or ayahuasca, that is, I would love to do that. But I'm curious what your brother said about his trip after the fact.
He's probably still not in good state. That was about a year and a half ago. I think that trip changed him like fundamentally as a person.
Yep,
it really did, because he went from being like a young 22-year-old like frat guy, even though he didn't go to college, like he was partier all the time. He's literally now in church doing like everything by the book. He doesn't go out anymore. He didn't even come to our bachelor party one of our buddies' bachelor parties last month. He didn't come because he felt like he couldn't take the like party. Like, it's changed him. Ever since that trip, he's done. He doesn't party no more with us.
Interesting.
He'll come back around, man. He's on his own journey.
Well, he said that like he tripped out like about like the meaning of life and like he's wasting his life and all kinds of shit. Like,
we're all.
I'm not saying he's scared.
Lives.
I'm saying like whatever he thought about changed him.
Yeah, you're hitting on exactly why, people like us who like to do this stuff want to do this stuff, because I'll just speak for myself, but I know that there's habits in my life that I shouldn't be doing, and there's things that I'll fix. I should be going to the gym instead of asking you guys to pay me to do push-ups and so on and so.
You should eat more, by the way. You definitely got to eat a whole shit ton more chicken and rice, dude. Chicken and rice. Let's stop this motherfucker full of chicken and rice.
I'm trying. But like, yeah, I'm too good at rationalizing myself to be like, no, everything's fine. But when all of that ego is stripped away and you're just faced with whatever it is, you don't have anywhere to hide.
It definitely breaks people down. I've known totally what we would call like preppy kids, like the kids that got some money, they might be going somewhere. They're kind of above you, kind of a preppy kid, and like so many of them just fall into like same kind of a thing. Like they see some kind of a thing, and it's like the next thing you know, like they're literally barefoot hippies in Northern California growing weed, and they've got a trust fund, and like they're gonna go summer at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. And it's like a complete fucking disconnect there to some degree.
Sure, but I think for most, I'm going to say most, I might take that back. But for most people, I do feel like that ego death, that experience of I'm not doing the right thing, that is something that we should be, we should face. It shouldn't be a matter of if you're living in such a way that's not ideal for yourself and your own perspective, and you can't see that, or you're too good at rationalizing or convincing yourself that it's fine. Like sometimes we need to be broken down so we can build ourselves back up again.
It's true. Yeah, the ego should be shattered from time to time. I don't think it's a bad thing. It can be catastrophic in some situations. You have to be careful because people that are on the edge, it'll push them over. But people that need it, and I don't exactly know how to figure that out, but it's been helpful for me. So I have to say that props to like the positive side of all of that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely a different and better person since doing
I think
acid.
So too.
It's just allowed me to
drugs in general.
It just seems I'm not laughing at y'all. It's just a funny statement. I'm a better person since I did acid.
We might be the same person. I'm sorry. Yeah, it might be the same thing. We might actually be the same person. We've just done drugs. And now there's no actual way to figure that out. Maybe we're the same people underneath all this. And like now we've done drugs, so we apply that on top of it in a way that's unnecessary. But I think it's a differential factor, honestly. I don't know any other way to describe it.
So slightly unrelated, but still related. Dylan, I'm curious. I know I think we talked about it a little bit before when you were in the Discord. But where do you fall religiously? Are you a Christian? How do you identify in there?
So I was a fundamentalist Christian growing up, and I left. And I left because I thought that I left because I was pretty much convinced that the Bible was contradictory and untrue historically, right? Mm-hmm. And so I did that like 5 years ago-ish, and I was pretty much anti-religion for a long time. But lately, probably this last year, I feel more religious than ever. I'm not an atheist. I was for a little bit, but I'm back to like being some type of religious person. I can't be a Christian though, because the only way I could be a Christian is if you were to accept the fact that I don't believe in what the Bible says literally.
You can ignore the core tenets and hang out with
if we get rid of the literal aspect and you let me be a Christian where I'm just following the morals and the virtue and like, I think the Bible's got a ton of good stuff in it.
Yeah, but like cultural Christian.
It's just not literally true to me, so I don't know what you would call me. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. The reason I ask is because I was wondering about the connection that if you were more pious, if you were more into that aspect of religion, I could see why the notion of taking these psychedelics having such a huge effect, why that might seem more silly than something else. But either way, I completely understand why.
This ties into something I wanted to bring up to you too, because I was pretty much hardcore against any type of religion, like hardcore against it. Just wouldn't hear it. And then I got kind of, my mind got kind of changed by a guy on YouTube that I've been listening to. I'm really convinced by 90% of what he says, and you debated him. And I saw that you debated him,
Andrew.
And now I want to ask you, Andrew.
Damn.
So like, how was that?
So okay, when I get more than 5 minutes with that motherfucker, you better be there. You better be there.
Andrew. I'm gonna say this all out. We're losing him to Andrew. This is not a good thing, my dudes. And it's fair. It's fair. I totally.
I'm just being honest with y'all.
It's a totally defensible position.
Yeah,
You can put your pitchfork in there and you can stake out that position, and I appreciate that. So it's
I
it's
like
not
Andrew in
unassailable,
general as a content
my,
creator.
My thing that I like about Andrew that I'm like, that makes me want to follow him, is that he's trying to answer, or he's answering it in his way, but like the question of like morals and what we ought to do, and like thing is in secular like atheism, that you can't really answer that question. That question can go every way. It's really just a subjective, meaningless question. Where Andrew's like really pushing.
It's not either of those things. It's not subjective, and it's definitely not meaningless.
Well, we can have a conversation. I'm telling you my opinion, and then y'all can tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'll say that right now. You're not wrong.
And that's why. Yeah, that's why.
So Andrew's convincing, because like that's a serious deal in life. Like we need to like face that. And I don't know what the answer is, but he's saying Christianity is, and he's got
what are they
lot of good
supposed
points.
to be? What are they supposed to be, and why should they be them? Right? That's what It's like, so why do we?
I don't know.
Why is murder wrong? Right? Murder is one of those.
Like we ought not murder people.
Yeah, we ought.
Why
not
is that
do
true?
That. But murder happens too, and we still justify it too, and then we play both sides of that fence, and then we act like we don't actually do that, and we do.
Well, hold on. So what would
this is just one level of all of this. It goes like 30 deep here.
Right. And I'm hardcore agnostic atheist. But when it comes to exactly what Dylan was talking about with the values and stuff, I'm not going to call myself a cultural Christian, because I do believe that we need to lessen Christianity's effect in society while maintaining those values. But that's a whole other thing. Yep. The issue is that exactly what Dylan was talking about, that for so long the atheist community, that I'm putting in quotes because that's not a thing, a lot of atheists have been in these debates, specifically on Modern Day Debate, talking about which is better for society, Christianity or secular humanism. You'll notice that they don't argue, does God exist anymore, because they know they can't win that argument. But because of the fact that secular humanism does not have an incentive to do what is right, it merely tells you what is and is not right. It doesn't get. It
Exactly.
doesn't have
It's
So
also.
kind of my. Oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
Bob.
it's also underpinned with what we know at the time, kind of a situation, right? Like I feel like secular humanism could be fleshed out better, but it's not right now, and. You don't have to justify things sometimes.
Yes,
you don't
you
have
do.
to justify
Yes, you do. Yes,
not
you
raping
do.
kids.
Yes, you do. Because there are bad people, and there are people who don't care about being good just for the sake of being good.
Yeah, no.
If it was the case,
I said it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I said it the other day. Some people will just be like, "F you." They'll be like, I hear what you're saying. I understand it, but F you. They will, and there's, you can't.
And that's
win.
why secular humanism
That's
does
not the point,
work. It works for people who already want to do the good thing.
No, the underpinnings of it right now are bullshit. It's not good. I don't think it's stable. Because people like Dylan right now are like, they're like, well, what is it? And we're just like, oh, well, what the fuck is it? It's like trying to define woke right now. Woke means to be aware of injustice. What does it mean to be a secular humanist right now?
Well, okay.
I don't necessarily.
All right, well,
know.
let's ask him, Dylan. What do you, if somebody tells you they're a secular humanist, what does that
How
mean?
How do you feel about it?
No. What definitionally? What do you think they are telling you?
I would define secular humanism as, it's like, it's wanting to promote the prosperity of humankind, like for like best. The problem is what is prosperous for humans, right? So you could say you're that having a lot of money, it means like we're prospering, right? But like that's not always the case in every scenario, and that's just one example. Like any example you give for what is prospering, I could probably give you a counterexample how that could not.
Money
be
is
prospering.
probably a bad way to judge it, honestly,
Right.
even from
And
my
so-
perspective.
But that was my off the top of my
I
head.
get it.
But
Yeah, money is so horrible, and a lot of people do though. You're not wrong.
Right. And so, Box, the point here is that when that is the understanding of, we'll just, an average person hears secular humanist and thinks that's what it means, even though that's not completely accurate, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, there still is no driving incentive to do what is good. What secular humanism does is shows empirically what is better for human flourishing versus human suffering.
The most
Right, flourishing. And like the thing is, like, so let's do one easier. Let's do health, right? You could say like health is something that humanists would push, but what if you were a slave, right? You're going to endure a lifetime of slavery. Like, let's go back to antebellum slavery. If you're living as a slave, is your health like you're going to live a long life? Is that actually prosperous for you? Or wouldn't you rather have a shorter life because your life fucking sucks? You know what I'm saying? So
I get that. I do think that
there's an argument made where health is not that. There's scenarios where it's not always the case, right?
Right. I hear where you're coming from. I do think that secular humanism, again, if you have the desire to be a good person and do what is right, I do think secular humanism does offer the tools to do that. The problem is, again, that is the biggest step, is getting people to want to do the right thing. And Christianity and many other religions have the mechanisms for that. You're going to go to hell. God, you want to have a relationship with God, whatever it is.
You're right. That's the other side of the coin. Is that like people that would do horrible crap don't do it because of religion, and what is the benefit gained there, right? Right, for those people that just don't do it because they believe in religion or a god, so that they don't do horrible crap, is there not a net benefit there? Like there has to be some utilitarianism
I don't
with
think
religion in general. Like I say, like the belief that you're just picking up on now is centuries old. If humanitarianism had 2,000 years to develop its ideas and its like basis for its morality, it would be much more powerful, I think, than Christianity at this point. And it's just, we're just where we are at our point in evolution.
So
and it's unchangeable for us.
So, Box, let me piggyback on this and then throw it back to Dylan, because I'm pretty sure we agree on this basic message. But my whole thing is that let's say that God, or the true understanding of the universe, or the highest, whatever the higher power you want to say, let's say that is beyond human knowledge. So I'll put my hand right outside of the screen and say, God is right here, and that we can't get there. But it is proposed that Christianity is the best way to get us as close to God as possible. How then are you convinced, without a period of time when we are looking for something that would lead us closer to God, that doesn't exist? If you're accepting that Christianity is the way, because Andrew Wilson said Christianity is the way, okay, Andrew Wilson, what else did you do to show that there's not something better?
Yeah, we are just stuck in the mire where we are right now, honestly. It's like honestly, we look back at people from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and we kind of like pity. There's like for most people, there's like a level of pity that happens. It's like, oh, they didn't know slaves were bad. They didn't know that you shouldn't
Right. But
shit in the street.
Sure.
We're actually still very much right here. And even in terms of our ideas here and like trying to figure out what is going on, it's just so primal that I feel upset that I was born 500 years from now.
Fair enough, but the I want to stick on the main question that if Christianity is here and God is out of our realm of knowledge, how do we know that there's not something up here?
We don't. We just don't.
I'm not, I don't mean to put you on. I'm just food for thought. Just how you how that hits you.
I don't really understand your question. So you're saying we can't understand God, and that Christianity is on some spectrum. How do we know that there's not something closer to God on that spectrum? Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
so shouldn't we? So if
but
we,
isn't it on like people who are opponents of Christianity to like come up with that and like propose
it? It is
because Christians don't have to like consider that until someone proposes it. Like, I mean, I guess they consider it, but like, it's not on them to find it.
Guys.
Together.
I'm proposing it.
Well,
that's what this channel is. So the idea that if you've seen some of the debates that I have, especially the most recent one that I did with Andrew Wilson, he agreed with me that it would be better if we could spread Christian, quote unquote, Christian values to secular people so that they act more like Christians. That would be better than what we have right now. And if that's the case, then I don't understand why we wouldn't want to take that further. And so the idea here is that, okay, if you fit into the Christian mold, then good for you. But there's a lot of us, many of us,
for who God made us to not believe
that that's not an option. Like if you never grew up with the church, if you never grew up with religion, and that was never a thing, then sure, you can be introduced to it and you can maybe buy into it. But as someone who was born in the Catholic Church, I was confirmed in the Methodist Church, I went through all of that, and it was only once I started reading the Bible and actually understanding the way that the human brain works and other realms of philosophy and how to think that I realized that this is such a specific thing that most people are like, this is the thing, but all of this exists. How do you know that it's this or not this or not this or this? And everybody seems to act that because Christianity has good stuff, that it is the best, and I reject that notion.
I mean, I'm not against it. Like I said, I'm not even a Christian myself. But I do agree. I am convinced with Andrew. It's better to live like one right now than to not.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my thing is like, I don't think like the commenter brought up hell earlier. There's a lot of people who have a big problem with hell. There's a lot of people who have a big problem with how God punishes nations by genocide in the Bible.
He gave us free will. God gave us free will.
Right.
That's
but
why
like,
that
doesn't
happens.
exist.
If he could stop you from doing it, it wouldn't be free will.
My point really is that those problems don't really matter because they don't really pertain to like how we live life. You know what I mean? Whether you believe in hell or not. I guess to some people, if they're scared of it, it does. But I grew up in the church. My church didn't push hell very much.
Mine did.
Mine did not. My church is not like that.
I was in a Catholic church.
I didn't do much church.
They were all about hell.
My church wasn't a big fear-mongering church, so.
Yeah.
But
you get all sorts.
A lot of people are mad about the fear-mongering. I don't think that churches need to do that. If you read
Churches
the church
are
fathers,
good.
if you read like Origin of Alexandria,
hold on, I would
read,
just like, could I just pause
talk.
here? Could I just pause here really quick? We all actually just agreed basically there that like the idea that Christian values are actually better than not having Christian values. Like you got two atheists to agree with you. I'm just gonna point that out.
Cool.
Continue, please.
Thanks, boss.
My point was that if you read the earlier Christians in their writings, they don't talk about hell that much. They're not fear mongering so much as they're not always right either. I don't agree with them all, but like this fear mongering thing seems to be like a new like thing in the past like couple
It's
centuries.
definitely not. But we got to shout out Jeff Kerr here. Said, I don't think we have free will. No, you know that we don't have free will because it doesn't make sense. Welcome to the party. Finally, somebody else who knows that free will doesn't exist. And I think that's a central part of this, because there is either God's plan or free will. You can't have both. Which one is it?
We were all destined to line up in this room tonight on this channel doing this right now, and there was no way that any of us could avoid it, basically, through any moment that we chose any decision in real life. It's just that simple, as far as I'm concerned. It's like a river, right? The river has a start and it has an end, and you can bounce off the banks.
We're on the same
river.
side, Jeff, but fair enough.
You can bounce off the banks of that river, but that river is going to a place, and it's coming from a place, right? And we're all bouncing off any bank of the river. So the randomness happens between the bouncings of the banks.
Well, there's
get spit out in the end.
So if you believe that the universe began with the Big Bang, which you have no reason not to, except that your pastor said it's some demonic thing. I'm being cheeky, but if you believe in the Big Bang, then free will does not make sense, because if we understand cause and effect, we have the cause of. You can mute yourself if you're going to do that. There's people listening with headphones on. Come on, bro. There is what the fuck was I saying before you so rudely coughed in everybody's fucking face?
You said something about the Big Bang and
If you believe in the Big Bang, then everything after the Big Bang has to be an effect of the things that came before it. And so there can be randomness, but randomness is not will. I am a material determinist because I do believe that the Big Bang happened. So everything after that is just a chemical or physical reaction. It just doesn't make sense where will could enter into the equation, because so I'll use the example that I always
I have a question
use.
whenever you...
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So first of all, I reject Big Bang, but it's not because my pastor told me. But I don't believe that. I think it's
I don't
bullshit.
believe it either.
I think it's bullshit. But anyway, I'll grant that it did happen and go with your argument. I think it's all got to do with our ability to rationalize and if we were just animals that just wanted to eat and sleep and we had no other thoughts or desires, I think you're right. But this weird ability to contemplate whether we should do something or something else does kind of push free will into the scenario where you'd be right if we weren't able to think of, contemplate bullshit. You know what I mean?
Not really. So how you said it brings it into the fold. How so?
So in a world where I evolved to where I'm at right now and I have no ability to think things through, and I'm walking up and I see a berry, and I would eat that berry because I'm hungry. But in the world where I have a brain and I can think through things, I look at that berry and I can contemplate whether, I know things are poisonous. So I can go through all these freaking scenarios in my head.
So let's
and then I can walk away where I'm still hungry. I'm hungry, but I didn't eat the berry. So
perfect. I love this example because. Okay. So let's stick with that. So you let's say you do have this notion of free will. You are under the impression that you have free will, and you are hungry, and you walk up on a tree and you see a berry. Why would you decide to not eat the berry? You just gave an example.
Through context of whatever I know,
prior knowledge. So let's say you know that it's a poisonous berry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the option to forget that it's a poisonous berry?
No.
So then where's the will? You're only just deciding not to, in the same way you're not eating the rock on the ground or the tree bark, you're not eating the berry.
We can strip this to its very essence, basically. I feel like
we have.
No. So no one here had a choice to be born. You didn't choose to be born. At the very inception of your life, you had no choice in the matter. And you don't have any choice in the matter. Like I say, it's like a river. It has a start, it has an end. Some rivers are long, some rivers are short, and the curves of the river are predefined, and to some degree, your free will bounces you off one edge or the other, but it starts at one place, it ends at another, and everything else in between is basically some set of predetermined.
mean, I agree with the predetermined part, but I think you kind of lost me. But I think
there's an element of randomness, honestly.
I agree, but I think let's stick with the berry here. Let's stick with the berry. This is about choice, right? So if you know that it's a poisonous berry, then you don't really have the choice to eat that because you know it'll kill you. So you could choose to kill yourself, but that's not what you're doing. You're trying to find food to sustain yourself.
I see what you're trying to say. It's okay. Let me accept that you're right. Does it really matter if we have free will? Because we're still experiencing reality, and even if it's predetermined, we're still going through the experience. We don't know, so we still have to make decisions as if we had free will, even if you're trying to say it's not. So does this really matter too much?
I'll answer. I think I get where you're going, and not really, but it is important in terms of what other ideas and other ideologies are built on the notion of free will. So I am stuck right now philosophically trying to understand how it is that I believe that free will does not exist, but also humans have agency. I'm not sure how.
I think that's kind of what you just said is kind of like what I was trying to say. Like, we have the ability to think through things and make choices, whether you want to accept that as free will or not. Like, that's where I'm like, does it really matter? Because we still have to make those choices.
I would say it does matter, because if we are talking about the choices that we're making and realize that they're not actually choices at all, they're just preferences or whatever word we want to use. So like, let me give you a different thought experiment that I stole. I stole this from Sam Harris, the guy who lost his fucking mind, but at one time was a very smart dude. So I'll just ask you to pick any ice cream flavor. Can we agree before you pick this ice cream flavor that if free will exists, that picking a random ice cream flavor, you're not even eating it, you're just saying the flavor, that would be the freest type of will that you could possibly have, right?
Bouncing off the banks of that river, in my opinion. Yep. Yeah, you're gonna pick the chocolate side, or you're gonna pick
hold on. That's
I don't know that. I don't know if I agree with what you're saying. I don't know.
What would be, if we're talking about free will, and that's not free will, what is a preventative?
So I would say the freest type of will is like. So I would go with the example of like the notion to sacrifice yourself for others, or the notion to like, yeah, let's go with that. It is. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a consequence.
Right. I'm
doesn't have any consequence.
Right. Exactly. I'm specifically trying to find something without consequence, so that it's not about your life is on at stake for this choice. It's just a random flavor that you're going to put out there. So literally nothing bad or good can happen from you choosing this flavor over that flavor. And so the stakes are way down. So this should be the freest type of decision.
Okay, so you're saying like I don't have like it's free because I'm not having to like deal with. I see what you're saying.
Right. So then, so we agree that this is a type of decision that doesn't really have any stakes, and you could pick whatever you want, and it wouldn't be worse for this or that or that or that. So which flavor do you pick?
Chocolate.
So then I will ask you. Fair enough. Why did you choose chocolate?
Does it taste the best?
Did you choose to like chocolate the best?
I mean, I think I see what you're trying to say. I get what you're saying.
It's all cause and effect. So you got the preference of liking chocolate, like Box was saying, from the genes from your parents, who got it from their parents, who got it from their parents, got it from their parents. And then everything after you, the experience of you being born is a matter of the things that you experienced that you didn't necessarily choose. And so if, let's say that you'd never had chocolate ice cream and you'd only had vanilla, would you still be free to choose a flavor that you've never had? Maybe, but are you likely to do that? Probably not. Because the way that your brain is going to work is you think ice cream, you're going to think either, and it doesn't matter how long you deliberate. You think, you hear the word ice cream, and the first thing that comes to your mind is chocolate because that's your favorite. And you're gonna be like, wait, I don't want to pick my favorite. I'm gonna go with something different. Let's go with something a little bit more fancy. We're gonna go with Rocky. Actually, no, we'll go with brownie batter. Even though you still did all of that thinking about this. The ultimate decision to not want to choose your favorite, to want to choose something more fancy, whatever it is that leads you to that decision is not your choice. It ultimately goes back to something that you do not control.
I think you're right, but I think you're right because you're bringing us to this simple example of like no consequence. I think the consequences is the thing that like shows your free will. Okay. And for example, let's imagine I know for a fact I can rob a bank tomorrow and get away with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will get away with it. So then I have to make the free will decision of, do I go rob that bank and make a ton of money? But with the consequence of I've taken other people's money. You know what I'm saying? So I have to is it right for me to take other people's money? So I have to make that rational decision. That's my free will.
Do you choose to care about what's right? Or is that just something that you feel? Did you decide one day that I'm going to choose to want to do things that are right? Or is that something that is just ingrained in you that I want to do?
No, I think you do. I think there's plenty of people in the world that would say, no, you take the money.
No, I don't know.
Benefit yourself.
I'm asking you specifically. Did you, Dylan, decide one day, maybe I'll be bad, maybe I'll be good? No, you know what? I'm going to try to be a good person. Or is that just how you're orientated?
I don't know. I think that you do have to make the decision to be good or bad. I don't know.
I agree. And again, I'm not saying we can't make decisions. I'm saying the reason we make those decisions ultimately comes back to something that we didn't choose. And so it is all cause and effect. And it's dominoes falling over. And there might be a lot of dominoes, but any decision you ever make is you follow the dominoes back and it goes back to something that you did not choose.
Okay, and I let's agree on this because I see what you're saying, and I just don't know. I see what you're saying. I'll agree with you on this, but I want to go back to secular humanism because the problem with secular humanism is in the scenario where I talked about robbing the bank. The rational choice would be to rob the bank. Like there would be no choice to not steal from other people because you're benefiting. You know what I'm saying?
Not really. Can you? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not 100% sure how it connects.
So in humanism, let's say your community, trying to separate into like tribes, right? Like America is humanist and Russia is not humanist. We have no incentive to not do something bad to Russia for our gain because like it's all for us. Like we are, you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't take into consideration the other people's humanity at that point because
as far as Russia is concerned,
you see what I'm saying?
This is perfectly apt.
But I
where Christian values you have to take into consideration like everyone and like right and wrong. Where humanists, it's not so much about right or wrong, it's more about what's beneficial. You know what I'm saying?
I do actually, but I want to shout out what Jeff Kerr is saying here. A Gen Xer said, "Warms my heart to see millennials are thinking about these things." Thank you, Jeff. Dilly to you. Hey guys, real quick, if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it, dropping new videos every single day. I think there is that again breaks down to the agency aspect, and I don't have the answer yet. But my larger point is that I'm just some schmuck. I'm not going to be able to figure out what is the better moral structure than Christianity. I can't do that. I'm just me. But it's not like there was one person who sat down and created Christianity. Right? It was a tradition that unfolded over time. And my larger point is that if we know that Christianity requires faith to make the jump from this is what we know in Christianity to God, then why would we not be in the position of searching to see if maybe, perhaps, there might be something better for getting us closer to God, better for our morals, more applicable to people who don't believe in X, Y, and Z. Why would we not want to be doing that? That's
because applicable doesn't actually include like the actual God, right? So the idea is that you don't want to just cut yourself. Well, I mean, are you just going to ditch God, the God? Are you like, how are you going to get people to get on board for that? Like, we have something better over here. It fills all these same needs, but it doesn't include him, you know? And it's like,
well, that's like to
like
people like us,
have
that's
to cover. Yeah, I know it's a big hurdle though for a lot of people, I think.
I agree. But that's that. I mean, so was fucking getting rid of slavery. So was the Civil Rights Act. I mean, humanity is meant to progress. No?
I mean, I'm trying to think about it. So if you do take God out of the situation, you get some system that like promotes all these, right? Why should people continue to like be a part of your system that you've created?
Because it's correct.
Because a lot of people do it because, and I'm not saying I do it. I'm saying a lot of people only follow Christian morals and Christian teaching because they believe God is like in charge, because they believe that like he created everything, we owe him that, you know, all these different reasons. But if you take him out, like, why should they be a part of the system?
So when I say take God out, I don't mean that you are not allowed to believe that these values are good because God said. What I am saying is that these are the values that should be in society. Whether you believe in a God or this God or that God or no God, it shouldn't matter, because the values that come from your religion are, in fact, empirically better for society.
I agree with you. So just so you know, I agree with you, and I'm very like, I'm confused, and I disagree with the Christians that are always saying we have to ground our morality in God. I don't know what they mean. What does like that actually mean? That's the hard one for me to overcome.
Yeah. All the time, I'll say God is very, 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 very bad at being a word. What is the point of words? To take the thoughts and ideas in my head and transfer them over into your head. So if I say a word and you don't understand what I actually mean, you just have your own reference for that, then it's not an effective word. And so I'll say, I know you said you're not a Christian, but I usually, I get a little cheeky with it with the Christians. It's like, okay, so since you're such a good Christian, of course you're going to go to church next Sunday. And so when you're in church, before you walk into the church, I want you to think to yourself, definitionally, what is God? And just keep that in your mind. Then when you sit down in the pew, turn to the person to your right and say, what is God? And you're going to get a different answer. Not only that, but you turn to your left and you ask the same question and you are going to get yet another answer. And so the idea is that if everybody is already operating on their own version of this moral structure, but there are some people who can buy into the truth claim and some people who can't, then we don't need to take away the God or faith aspects from the people who believe it. We just need to be able to extend the values to the people who don't believe it, so that everybody is operating on the same values regardless of their beliefs. That is how you keep a culture together. And again, I'm just some guy. I'm trying to get this off the ground. I'm not claiming to be the scholar who has all the answers. I'm claiming to be the guy that's able to point out the problem and say, hey, we need to get people who are a lot smarter than me to come and figure this out.
Yeah, fuck you. I don't want to join your stupid ass thing.
What?
You're already there, buddy. You're already there. Christianity in Africa. So yeah, Wake Up Mind said Christianity reached China before it was in America. In Africa, it was even older. And Christianity was adopted in the Western Roman Empire by Constantine. Yep. Just to ground yourself in the text, friends. Well, that was, as I said before, I was born in the Catholic Church. I was confirmed in the Methodist Church, and I hadn't ever actually read the text. So then I read the text while I was also learning about the human brain and different types of philosophy. And I was like, oh, this isn't as convincing as it seems when you put it among other things.
I think that's where, like, where you say ground yourself in the text. That's like a terrible it's a terrible suggestion, because that's why I left Christianity, because I was a fundamentalist Christian. If I had not been a fundamentalist, if I had been more of a loose, like, this doesn't have to be literally true, it's just like abstractly true, I'd probably still be a Christian today. The fundamentalist part is what killed me. So the text is probably the worst part. They need to like quit acting like that's
well, that's the dogma. That's the issue, is that the unwilling, the unflinching attachment to the ideology, the unwillingness to say, okay, maybe, like, even to the level of, it's a Christian belief that Jesus Christ the Messiah will come back to earth. In the Bible, things were a certain way. Jesus came to earth and then changed the way things were. What reason do we have to believe that when Jesus comes back, he won't yet again change things and make them better? I agree with you there, Jeff. I agree with you there.
No way.
I don't even understand what you were just saying.
What
what was your point there?
My point
Try and say that
is,
again.
so I was saying in the Old Testament, you know, we had an angry, jealous, vengeful, genocidal guy, and then Jesus came and was like, that part was wrong. We're going to do things differently now. And then part of the Christian faith is that Jesus will again come back to earth. What reason do we have to believe that just like last time, if we are to believe all of this stuff, just like last time when he came to earth, he was like, hey, whoa, we're going to switch some stuff up and get better at this. Why would we believe that when he comes back for the second time, that he won't also be like, oh, well, yeah, you know, we said that stuff like 2,000 years ago, and it was pretty decent, but we're going to tweak some things here.
I mean, I think that's the expectation from Christians.
Well, there shouldn't be such a unflinching dogma.
I see your point now. I see your point now.
Stop.
I see what you're
that's not
saying.
true at all. Between the Muslims, basically, the Muslims hate the Jews, and the Jews hate the Muslims, and the Christians have kind of gone through a reformation, but they're still basically a fucking death cult too at this fucking point. And like, there's no reconciliation between any of these religions right now, and I feel like the more that we perpetrate all of this, the more we're just gonna cause unnecessary suffering and misery amongst other people. Because, like, Jews, to the Jews, you're a goy, right? To the Muslims, you're an infidel, right? And you have your words for them, right? And we're never going to heal this divide with this religion bullshit. It's all an absolute fucking wedge at this point.
Dogma is the downfall of humanity.
I think that the worst solution you guys can have, though, is to abandon all of it, though.
I agree.
Because I think so. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not trying to say it, dude.
Yeah, let's not take out the good parts. The good parts are the good parts. I feel like we can deal with the good parts, right?
Get your End Dogma shirt only at TheIndianJesus.com. You can get a shirt. You can get a whole bunch of stuff. You can get a mug. You can get a bag. All that stuff.
Yeah, because you guys read philosophy, right? You're a philosophy channel, so you've read
I wish I was more philosophical.
I philosophize, I guess.
So you've read or at least heard of Nietzsche, right?
Yeah,
Nietzsche.
So Nietzsche is basically
nihilist. I break like a nihilist myself. I break like Nietzsche breaks. There's something deep down inside of me that feels exactly like he does when everything goes to shit.
Gotta read some Camus, brother. You gotta read some Camus and move beyond the darkness.
You gotta read what? What'd you say? You gotta read what?
Albert Camus. C-A-M-U-S.
Okay, I haven't heard of him.
He's an absurdist. And so, not to step on what you were saying, but
yeah, it's like comedy. You're either laughing or you're crying.
Essentially. So that nihilism is, nothing matters. There's no purpose. But that doesn't need to be a sad thing. Like, we're here. There's no purpose. We can just do whatever we want. And I want to be a good person. So that's already something that I can do that's going to be good. Absurdism. But what were you going to?
Yeah, I think y'all get my point. I was going to talk shit about nihilism. But
please,
I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this absurd. So yeah, no, I think nihilism is like terrible. I think that I fell into it a little bit, and I think that like that's where abandoning all these religions. If you abandon them and you go to just we are just material that exists with, and it's called all cause and effect, you kind of lose all reason for living, and you fall into depression, which is what I consider nihilism.
But
You know what I mean,
and I agree.
everything's
but-
meaningless.
Right, but and Jeff, we're gonna get to this question next. But in the same way, as you guys can see, I'm very adept at working out. But in the same way that when you start working out, there's going to be pain. Your muscles are gonna be sore, but you push through that, and then you get to look sexy. Nihilism is that for the mind. You go and you realize the reality that this shit really doesn't matter. There really is no anything. And then you can push through that and understand that reality. Since there's nothing here that actually, since there's no plan, since there's no goal that is set out for me, I can set out whatever goal I want.
You can get cynical real fast.
Now, this brings us back to the flaws with secular humanism, because if you want to do something that's not good, then that's fine for secular humanism, whereas Christianity has the incentive for you to want to do the right thing. But that doesn't mean it's true. And so if we can get to the point where we understand there is no purpose to the universe, so you get to decide your own purpose, and you can live that purpose to the fullest. That's the long and short of absurdism.
Okay, I'll have to look into that dude.
So Jeff is asking, have any of you checked into the Reformed Church or Calvinism? It's been a while, but
I don't know about the Reformed, but I mean, I know all about Calvinism. Not a fan.
Yeah,
that Calvinism is basically what I was talking
Also
about.
not a
I
fan.
dislike. They are the most dogmatic of all the Protestant branches.
I haven't read about this stuff in a long time, but if that's the case, then yeah, I'm gonna go with
It's all
dogma
the
is
same God
bad.
at the end.
There's no
the Reformed
secret
Church
ingredient.
like. Go ahead. I was saying, is the Reformed Church, is that the new like woke church type stuff that's going on over in like Cali? Is that what that is?
The rainbow flags and the whamming pastors. Wake of Mine said there's no secret ingredient to make something special. You just have to believe it is. Bingo. Exactly. So whether and again, if you believe that something special is God, I have other issues to deal with before I deal with whether or not that's true. But on the flip side, if you don't believe and you don't have any guiding force, well, that is something we all need to worry about. Because then these are the people that are committing crimes, hurting people, stabbing Ukrainian chicks on the fucking subway or the whatever it was. That's what that is. So the gap is knowledge of church history. And I mean, for one, if I'm going to give Andrew Wilson credit on anything religious, it is definitely that he is pretty good with his church history. We can definitely change. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that you debated him on. I saw you like reviewing it. I was at work, so I didn't get to watch it. I know I want to watch it just to see.
Yeah, check it out.
But I mean,
there's a bunch of different parts. I think there's 4 parts out that are now, and then out now, and then there's one that's members only that I'm waiting.
But Andrew doesn't really get into like this religious. He won't do it. He wants to talk about social issues. He will not like get into any field, which I respect.
Which is frustrating because I agree with him on most of that shit. And
Andrew's
he doesn't understand the
weakness is
difference
his
between
brittleness.
atheism and leftism. So
Yeah.
it was the call was for 5 atheists to debate Andrew Wilson, and then he brings a bunch of left-wing. It's like, bro, I agree with you.
And
What are we
brittle.
doing?
He's both strong and brittle. That's what's going on there. It's like once you crack the facade, like all the rest just kind of just crumbles underneath it, essentially. You know, I mean, and they are good arguments, and you can rest on his arguments. But it's just, I mean, pick and choose. What do you want to do?
So, I mean, we could take this conversation forever and ever, and definitely can continue at some point. But I think it is time to shut it down and head to the after party. So,
Yeah, guys, I love y'all. Go visit Jesus over there in the Discord.
There you go. There you go. Thank
there.
you, Box, for hanging
I'm
out.
there.
I don't know how you are this lucid if you really took 3 tabs. I almost don't believe that.
No, not tonight. No,
I forgot this dude was on acid.
No, you thought I was? No, you're
You
wild,
said-
dude. No,
You
that
said,
that never
and I
happened.
quote, so I am on 3 tabs and I take this
Oh
picture.
yeah, I'm imagining where I was. That was past tense. I was speaking in past tense. Completely lucid.
This
my dude.
motherfucker.
Able to describe past tense.
All right, I'm kicking you the
I love
fuck
you
out
guys.
for lying.
Yeah, get out of here.
Dylan, always a pleasure to chat with you, brother. Again,
Yeah,
any final words for the people? The floor, sir, is yours.
I got nothing right now, man. I've got so much to think about. What we were talking about, I'm fried. I got nothing.
Shout out a channel or anything you got.
No,
Social media?
I do have a channel. I'm planning on like start making content on it again. I'm just not sure what
Let 'em
content's
know.
gonna be there. We'll figure that out here soon.
Sounds good. Well,
right,
hopefully
bud.
we'll see you in the Discord. Thank you so much
See you,
for
man.
hanging out, and we will see you around, brother. Thank you for the conversation. All right. So, again, the point of tonight was to try to just kind of move away from the heaviness of all the Charlie Kirk stuff. And, because of the fact that I'm not a news reporter, there's stuff coming out, with the suspect and that, and you can go find that on other channels. But, I feel very passionately about being, I don't know, for lack of a better term, the conversation guy. I want us to be better at conversations. And the only way we can do that is have conversations. Or look at other people's conversations and break down what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. So, I mean, if that's something that interests you, you are definitely in the right place. And if you're new, you should definitely subscribe, because I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and dropping new videos every single day, guys. It's a grind, but I am here for you. And of course, so is Morty. Once again, the Overlord, our co-host, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.